Chapter 1977. It's as if she clearly knows the medicinal properties of every drop and every trace of these melted elixirs. She knows how much Dan fire they need, how much spiritual power they need, when they will fuse, and when they will condense. But at the same time, her spiritual power consumption is increasing. Her sweat is almost gone, and the capillaries on the surface of her body are ruptured. Fine beads of blood ooze out from her skin. For a moment, the lake blue clothes on her body are dyed red. Her snow-white skin is almost covered with blood. Her whole body is like being fished out of a pool of blood. Enchanting. Xiao Bao is so anxious that he almost cries. Enchanting is injured. He is by Enchanting's side, how can he let Enchanting get hurt? Right, Enchanting wants to refine elixirs, but she doesn't have enough spiritual power. Then Xiao Bao will help Enchanting input her spiritual power. At this time, Xiao Bao doesn't care about anything else. He doesn't know that different spiritual powers can't be injected into the same elixir. And now, what's inside his body isn't spiritual power, but immortal power. Xiao Bao only wants to help Enchanting, so that she won't bleed in pain. Little hands are placed on the furnace, and immortal power is injected without reservation. Seeing Xiao Bao like this, Leng Yuma grits her teeth, stands up, and puts her hands on the furnace. The fat rabbit is awakened by Xiao Bao's voice. Seeing the two's movements, Mung Bean eyes flash, and it jumps up. Pasting it on the furnace, it also injects its own demon power. Xiao Bao and Leng Yuma don't know how to refine elixirs, plus the fat rabbit is purely messing around. Just like that, very foolishly and naively, he injected all his spiritual energy, immortal energy, and demon energy into the alchemy furnace. They have no idea how shocking it is for two kinds of spiritual power, immortal power, and demon power to gather in the same furnace. Mu Yan has already entered the mysterious out-of-body realm, and doesn't know what's happening in the room. So, half an hour later. There's a loud bang in the furnace of Tianlang Palace. The whole Flying Dragon City is shaking. If Flying Dragon City wasn't a mustard divine tool, the furnace of Tianlang Palace would have been completely blown into powder. A thick smoke curls out from the top of Tianlang Palace. The people of the Xiaoyao sect, who had been cultivating in their own rooms, hurriedly ran out. Even the cultivators in the other palaces of the Flying Dragon City were alarmed and surrounded the Tianlang Palace to listen to the situation. Cough cough cough. Leng Yuma was the first to rush out of the house. Next is Mu Yan, who is holding Xiao Bao. Beside him was a fat rabbit whose fur had turned completely black. He kept shaking his head to get rid of the dust on his body. At this moment, the three people and the rabbit's original appearance couldn't be seen at all. Their faces were covered in ash, and only their snow-white teeth and bright eyes could be seen. Little junior sister, fourth brother, what are you two doing? Leng Yuma said gloomily, alchemy. Who knew that the alchemy furnace would be so weak that it actually exploded? Xiao Bao nodded in agreement. Just like what Bai Xia said, it was a fake product. What a scam! The people surrounding Tianlang Palace rolled their eyes in unison when they heard this. Which of the alchemy furnaces in the Flying Dragon City wasn't above the 7th grade? Tianlang Palace would only be better. They could actually blow up a 7th grade alchemy furnace. It has to be said that the fighting power of the Xiaoyao sect is too strong. But obviously, they don't know how to refine elixirs. Seeing that there's nothing else, the cultivators slowly dispersed. Chapter 1978. Mu Yan carried Xiao Bao to wash up, changed her clothes, and then went to see the worried eldest senior brother. Although a furnace of elixirs had just exploded, there was no lack of joy on Mu Yan's face. Because she finally knew how to refine the real Zhiyuan Dan. The fat rabbit, who had also been washed clean and turned into a snow-white lump, hopped over to Xiaobao's side. He opened his mouth and spat out a golden-red pill. As soon as this pill appeared, the spiritual power in the room began to fluctuate restlessly. It seemed like it wanted to rush into the pill, but it also seemed like it wanted to escape. Mayan blinks, this elixir is. Nyangqin just refined it. Xiao Bao picks up the elixir and hands it to Mayan. Xiao Bao didn't have time to take it, so Bunny swallowed it and brought it out. Mu Yan is somewhat dumbfounded. Just now when the alchemy furnace exploded like that, she actually refined a Ziyuan Dan. That's not right, but is this still the Ziyuan Dan? Its color and smell were completely different from the Ziyuan pill. Moreover, there were strange patterns on the surface of the pill. The people of the Xiaoyao sect all came over. What kind of medicinal pill is this? He had never seen such a pill before. The taste is also very unique. Ling Yuma said proudly, there is little junior sister's spiritual power, Xiao Bao's immortal power, Fat Rabbit's demonic power, and my fire's spiritual power. Yun Ruhan's jaw dropped. I've never heard of an elixir containing so much energy. Luo Yu said with lingering fear, this thing won't kill people, right? But it feels very tempting. What if it's one of those rare elixirs? The 7 of them were a little worried. It would be a waste if he didn't eat it. It was a pill that he had never seen before, and he did not know its effects. What if he got sick after eating it? Chu Moli said unhurriedly, in the upper 3 districts of Tianguang ruins, there is a place called the Appraiser Hall. That place is similar to the Ethereal Hall. However, the Ethereal Hall was a place where people could experience the effects of pills, talismans, and treasures. On the other hand, the Appraiser Hall could help you examine the properties, ingredients, and effects of pills and magical treasures. Maybe you can go there and try. Tianguang Ruins. Ling Yuma held Xiao Bao's hand and walked into the Appraiser Hall. The fees in the Appraiser Hall were not cheap, but there were still quite a number of cultivators coming and going. This was because those who had passed the appraisal of the Appraiser Hall and obtained the proof could usually bring it to an auction house and sell it for a very high price. At this time, Mayan was anxious to refine the Yuan Dan. Thus, Ling Yuma volunteered to bring Xiao Bao to Tianguang ruins to appraise the pills. After all, she had contributed to this pill. She also wanted to know what the effects of this pill were. Ling Yuma led Xiao Bao to an empty counter and placed the pill box on the counter. I want to appraise the pill. The person in charge of this counter was a middle-aged man in his 40s. When he heard this, he raised his head with a face full of smiles. However, when he saw Ling Yuma and Xiao Bao, he couldn't help but frown. The reason was that their appearances were too ordinary. In Tianguang ruins, there weren't many people who changed their looks because they had to go through identity verification. However, almost everyone would change their looks. Therefore, handsome men and beautiful women could be seen everywhere. However, this androgynous fellow and the little doll were already so ugly in the Tianguang ruins. Not to mention in reality, it would definitely be shameful. Judging a book by its cover was the instinct of many people. Therefore, this middle-aged man's originally warm smile became faint. Chapter 1979. He casually took the medicine box and opened it. This time, he revealed an expression of disdain. Normally, elixirs that were grade 4 and above would have a fragrance and spirit-chi presence when they appeared in the Heavenlight ruins. But the elixir in his hand was pitch black and looked like a mud ball. It was obvious that this was an elixir that was below grade 4. How could such an elixir be appraised? The middle-aged man said impatiently, the appraisal hall has a rule that elixirs below grade 4 will need to pay 1 high-grade crystal stone for each appraisal. Elixirs below grade 6 will need to pay 10 high-grade crystal stones. Elixirs below grade 8 will need to pay 100 high-grade crystal stones. I don't think your elixir is worth 1 high-grade crystal stone, right? Are you sure you want to appraise it? Ling Yuma felt very bewildered too. Back in the Tianlang Palace, the elixir was obviously fragrant and had a special luster pattern on the surface. But in the Heavenlight ruins, it had turned into a mud ball. But even if it had turned into a mud ball, it still had to be appraised. I am sure. The middle-aged man said, "What grade do you want to appraise?" Grade 6. Ling Yuma remembered that her junior sister mentioned that she could only refine grade 6 elixirs at best. The middle-aged man sneered in his heart, where did this country bumpkin come from? He actually dared to appraise a grade 6 elixir with such a quality. Did he have too many crystal stones to burn? But he wasn't a fool to give up on the crystal stones. Seeing that Ling Yuma had paid the crystal stones, he was about to take it for appraisal. Suddenly, a slender hand pressed on the medicine box and a man's voice echoed, "Wait a moment, let me take a look at this elixir." The middle-aged supervisor raised his head and saw who it was and instantly put on a flattering smile. "Lord Fuchin, why are you here? Did you refine a new elixir?" Ling Yuma and Xiao Bao looked up at the same time and stared at the handsome man in front of them. This person was Fuchin. A bastard who wanted to steal their junior sister's mother's belongings. Both of them had unkind expressions. Ling Yuma quickly took the medicine box and stuffed it into Xiao Bao's arms. "Apologies, didn't your father teach you not to touch other people's belongings without permission?" Before the man could speak, a middle-aged woman behind the man yelled, "Presumptuous! Who gave you the guts to speak to Lord Fuchin like this?" Ling Yuma sneered, raised her chin, and said with an unruly look, "I was born with nothing else but courage. If you have the guts, come and bite me." The middle-aged woman's face was cold and her eyes were filled with killing intent. However, when she met Ling Yuma's eyes, her expression slightly changed. He almost blurted out, What is your name?" This girl's eyes, why are they so similar to that person? When the middle-aged woman thought of the person who had been killed, a trace of panic flashed across her face. No. Impossible. It was just a coincidence. Moreover, this young girl only had a pair of eyes that resembled that person. Her appearance was completely different. That's right. It must be a coincidence. Feng Yu, step down. Chu Tianyu lightly shouted. The middle-aged woman then retreated to the back in a daze, but her gaze unconsciously drifted towards Ling Yuma. This middle-aged woman was the elder of the Flow Moon sect, Ling Yuyao's aunt, Feng Yu. After Ling Yuyao suffered a soul-electric shock and was expelled from the Heavenlight ruins, the Flow Moon sect's water element elixirs became cheap goods that could be found on the streets. Feng Yu made a prompt decision and brought along a few of the Flow Moon sect's elixir recipes to seek refuge with the Ding country marquis, Chu Xinyan. Chapter 1980. She even gave Ling Yuyao, who had lost most of her cultivation, to one of Chu Xinyan's confidants. That confidant's strength was superb, he was loyal and devoted to Chu Xinyan, but he had a penchant for abusing women. Feng Yu's actions made him very happy, so he helped her put in a few good words in front of Chu Xinyan. As such, Feng Yu was able to stay by Chu Tianyu's side to serve him. She even knew that Chu Tianyu was the famous great god Fuchin in Tianguang ruins. Chu Tianyu walked forward and revealed a refined and courteous smile towards Ling Yuma and Xiao Bao. "You two don't have to be nervous, I just feel that this pill of yours is very special, and I want to buy it. Why don't the two of you name a price?" As he spoke, he subconsciously glanced at Xiao Bao. When he met little Bao's dark blue eyes, his heart trembled for no reason. This little child seemed inconspicuous, but he felt an indescribable sense of reverence towards him. Just like the pill in his hand, at a glance, there was not even a fluctuation of spiritual power. However, Chu Tianyu could faintly sense a familiar aura from this pill. This was the aura of the incomparably expensive pill that his father took every day. Moreover, it was far thicker than the one he had smelled before. Chu Tianyu asked this question because he was waiting for Lang Yuma to answer. Unexpectedly, the child holding the pill coldly said, "Not selling." Lang Yuma sneered, "Did you hear that? This is my martial nephew's pill. He said he won't sell it. Aren't you going to scram?" No matter how good Chu Tianyu's temper was, his face couldn't help but turn cold after being repeatedly told to scram. Lord Fuchin. The middle-aged steward stepped forward with a fawning smile. Don't bother with this bunch of country bumpkins. They dared to bring a grade 3 pill to the appraiser hall for appraisal. It was purely a waste of crystals. I wonder if Lord Fuchin is going to appraise the elixir this time. Before Chu Tianyu could say anything, Feng Yu had already stepped forward, took out a box, and slowly opened it. This is a 6th grade pill that my family's young master just refined. I've made some improvements based on the Jinyuan pill, so I'm here to appraise it. The moment the box was opened, a rich medicinal fragrance wafted into the air. Good medicine. Good medicine. This is a top-grade grade 6 medicinal pill. The middle-aged manager flattered, Lord Fuchin, you are truly worthy of being the #1 concoction master in the Heavenlight Ruins. This lowly one will go and appraise it for you now. As he spoke, he looked at Xiao Bao. If you want to do the appraisal of a 6th grade medicinal pill, then come in with us. TSK, I don't know what these people are thinking. It's obviously trash, but they still want to sit for a 6th grade medicinal pill appraisal. The middle-aged manager brought Chu Tianyu, Xiao Bao, and Lang Yuma into the 6th grade pill appraisal room. In the appraisal room, there were 10 crystal-clear glazed cauldrons. A complicated formation was drawn in the cauldron. As long as the pill was placed into the glazed cauldron and the middle-aged steward placed the crystal stones in to activate the array, the properties of the pill would be analyzed and engraved into the jade slip. Xiao Bao glanced at Lang Yuma, who nodded back at him. Xiao Bao strode over to the table with his short legs. He raised his hand and placed the pill into one of the cauldrons. Fuchin took a glance at Xiao Bao and indicated for Feng Yu to place the pill into the appraiser glazed cauldron. Soon enough, the glazed cauldron lit up with radiance. The crystal-clear white radiance slowly turned into a rainbow glow. The entire elixir appraisal room was gradually filled with a strange fragrance. Chapter 1981. Medicinal King's Inheritance welcomes you. 1. The middle-aged supervisor asked with excitement, "What is this fragrance? Why is it so alluring? Lord Fuchin, your elixir is truly remarkable." Fuchin frowned because he knew clearly about the composition and smell of his elixir and it wasn't like this. Furthermore, this fragrance was extremely similar to the elixir that his father consumed. If he felt that this fragrance was just an illusion when he was outside, then now, before he could finish thinking, the entire inspection treasure pavilion suddenly shook violently. A blinding light burst out from the 10 glazed cauldrons and rushed straight for the ceiling. It had even penetrated through the roof of the inspection treasure pavilion. Immediately after, the entire Tianguang ruins started to ripple like a mist that was blown by the wind. The originally simulated sky was now filled with colorful rays of light. All the cultivators in the Tianguang ruins were shocked and couldn't help but look up at the sky. What is going on? Is the Tianguang ruins going to collapse? No, it can't be. Wouldn't our divine souls be trapped here? What kind of joke is this? The Tianguang ruins has existed for so many years, how is it possible for it to collapse? But the Tianguang ruins has never experienced such a situation before. Even the ground that we are standing on seems to be trembling. Just as everyone was bewildered and fearful about what was happening, a mechanical and cold voice echoed in the sky and echoed in everyone's ears. Now announcing the Tianguang Ruins temporary announcement. Just a moment ago, the Tianguang Ruins God-class mission, Medicinal King's Inheritance, has been activated. The spatial zone of the Medicinal King's Inheritance has been activated in a certain place in the Tianguang Ruins. All cultivators below the age of 30 and who have attained the cultivation of Anidia are eligible to participate. All users are welcome to challenge. From now onwards, the Tianguang Ruins will enter a Class 3 state of alert and will open up its maximum capacity until someone completes the Medicinal King's Inheritance mission and obtains the title of the Medicinal King's Inheritor. I repeat once more, from now onwards, just as the cultivators in the Tianguang Ruins were in a state of shock, at almost the same time in the outside world. The entire cultivation continent had also experienced a change. The originally clear blue sky and the radiant sun were suddenly enveloped by a layer of radiance. This radiance was silver at first, and then it emitted a 7-colored radiance. A deep and resounding voice, like the voice of an oracle descending from the heavens, fell into everyone's ears, and even struck their souls. Harboring the heart of saving the world, refining a pill that defies the heavens and changes fate, seizing the soul of the king of hell. This is the sacred ancestor Medicine King. 800 years. It has been 800 years. On this continent, someone has finally triggered the Medicine King's inheritance. From now on, activate the inheritance space of the sacred ancestor Medicine King, and choose the Medicine King successor. All practitioners below the age of 30 can enter the Skylight Ruins to participate. In the end, the one who passes the 3 tests and obtains the Medicine King's token will become the sacred ancestor Medicine King, the only successor. Dingwa Marquis Residence. Chu Xinyan, who was in the middle of a discussion with his subordinates, suddenly raised his head. He did not bother to hide his loss of composure and rushed out of the room. Medicine King Legacy. Medicine King Legacy. So the legends are true. The cultivation continent really does have the inheritance of the sacred ancestor Medicine King. Ha ha ha, as long as I obtain the inheritance of the sacred ancestor Medicine King, why should I worry about my short lifespan? Why should I worry about not being able to ascend? Chu Xinyan suddenly turned back, his face almost distorted with excitement. Come. Immediately gather all the young alchemists that I have nurtured. Chapter 1982. The Medicine King's Inheritance welcomes you, too, yes, Marquis. Chu Xinyan lowered his head and slowly took off his gloves, revealing his wrinkled hands. He gritted his teeth and murmured, this Marquis must obtain the Medicine King's inheritance. Dragon Soaring Academy. All the teachers and students, including the teams participating in the Deer Cry banquet, were gathered in Flying Dragon City. Looking at the slowly dissipating rainbow light in the sky, many people simply couldn't come back to their senses. Oh my God! I always thought that the Medicine King's inheritance in Tianguang Ruins was just a legend. I didn't expect it to be true. The one who spoke was a student of Dragon Soaring Academy. Under everyone's questioning, the student vividly told a rumor among the alchemists. It turned out that as early as hundreds of years ago, there was this kind of rainbow light in the sky. It was also a deep voice that told them that the world's most powerful Medicine King, the only divine ancestor-level alchemist, had left the Medicine King's inheritance in their cultivation continent's Tianguang Ruins. As long as someone triggered it, the inheritance space would open. Once the inheritance space opened, anyone could enter and accept the trial. As long as someone passed the 3 trials, they could obtain the entire inheritance of the Medicine King, and even become the next successor of the famous Medicine King in the cultivation continent. At that time, all the alchemists of the cultivation continent poured into the Tianguang Ruins to find the inheritance of the Medicine King. However, 1 year passed, 2 years passed, 10 years passed, and not even a shadow was found. Slowly, everyone became disappointed, thinking that this was just a prank played by the immortals of the cultivation continent to play with everyone. Even now, 800 years later, 90% of the people in the cultivation continent didn't even know about the Medicine King's inheritance. However, today, out of the blue, the King of Herbology's inheritance was triggered. No one has triggered the Medicine King's inheritance in 800 years, which almighty being is so awesome to actually trigger it. That's right, I heard that 800 years ago, almost everyone in the cultivation continent went into the Tianguang ruins to look for it. They tried everything, but not even a hair was found. Hearing the discussion, the people of the Xiaoyao sect all turned to look at Mu Yan. Mu Yan was dumbfounded. Why are you looking at me? I've been very low-key these days, okay? I was just refining pills in the alchemy room. What does the Medicine King's inheritance have to do with me? The people of the Xiaoyao sect agreed. The King of Medicine's inheritance space is in Tianguang ruins, and Junior Sister didn't go there just now, so it shouldn't be her who triggered it, right? The main reason was that their Junior Sister was really too good at making trouble. She was the Lord of Black Sky Sect and the Lord of 6 Stars. The dark night was like day, the heavens swaying and the earth moving. Multicolored light rushed into the heavens, and from time to time, it would come out. They were all numb. Therefore, when the Medicine King's inheritance was triggered, they subconsciously thought of Mu Yan. However, this time, it really had nothing to do with Junior Sister. Only Chu Moli's lips curled up and a meaningful smile hung on his face. He softly muttered in a low voice, "Is it really all right? If I remember correctly, that pill should have just arrived at the appraiser hall to be appraised, right?" After the hubbub, the crowd quickly dispersed. Most people were anxious to head to the Tianguang ruins to find the inheritance of the Medicine King. The pill alchemists were excited and eager to give it a try. That was the Medicine King's inheritance, the real Medicine King's inheritance. As long as they obtained the Medicine King's inheritance, it would be equivalent to instantly becoming the #1 alchemist in the cultivation continent. Chapter 1983. Di Mingju, just wait for my disciple to beat you up. Such a privilege, such a boundless future, who wouldn't want it? Who wouldn't desire it? Junior Sister, let's go to Tianguang ruins to take a look, Yun Ruhan said. Luo Yu nodded repeatedly, yes, yes, how could our Xiaoyao school miss out on such a big show? Moreover, 6th Senior Sister, you are so good at alchemy, maybe the Medicine King's inheritance is yours. Luo Yu's words were heard by the Dragon Soaring Academy students beside her, and they could not help but snort disdainfully. A person who could blow up the entire Tianlang Palace alchemy room just by refining pills dares to brag about his alchemy prowess. Ha! Ha! Nowadays, anyone dares to covet the Medicine King's inheritance. Carefree team, we admit that your combat strength is very strong, but don't join in the excitement of alchemy. The surrounding inheritors laughed and laughed. Not everyone was malicious. After all, the strength of the Carefree team had already been recognized by everyone. They simply felt that it was impossible for the members of the Carefree team to know alchemy. Luo Yu was so angry that she wanted to argue with them, but was pulled back by Mu Yan. 6th Senior Sister, they actually said that you don't know how to refine pills. This group of idiots, the Ziyuan pill refined by his 6th Senior Sister, which of these trash present could refine it? Mayan smiled and said, words are better than action. What's more, you forgot that eldest brother told us to keep a low profile. Let's go and take a look at the Tianguang ruins. Yun Ruhan thought to herself, hee, it's not credible to say something like low-key from your mouth, Junior Sister. Shuxian Continent, the northern border of the polar domain. Di Mingju led the Xian Division and Crescent Moon Division, and just destroyed a wave of Hogui attacks. Because Di Mingju is here, there aren't many casualties in the polar domain this time. Only a few of them had been poisoned by a small amount of pie poison, and they could be cured with the Heaven Spirit detoxification pill. The eyes of the people of Xian Department and Crescent Moon Department are filled with worship and awe as they look at Di Mingju. Their ruler was so powerful, so perfect, so aloof, like a god. However, this group of people did not know that the high and mighty god in their eyes looked cold and calm at the moment. The longing and impatience in his heart had already overflowed and he could not bear it any longer. He took out a talisman and burned it with his divine power. A warm breath flows through his body, as if Mu Yen is by his side. But his cultivation is really too high. A talisman refined by a cultivator of Mu Yan's level, even if it's a heaven-defying treasure to others, it's still not enough. To him, it only lingered for a few breaths before disappearing without a trace. And the talismans that Mu Yen gave him are almost used up. Cough. Jun Shang. Elder Chang said in a low voice, "Don't worry. In 10 days at most, the weakened barrier will stabilize again. The poltergeist ghosts will not be able to enter again. When that time comes, you can go to the Shuzhen mainland to look for Miss June and resolve your longing." On the side, Han Yi butts in. Jun Shang doesn't just want to resolve the pain of lovesickness. He's afraid that Miss June's charm is too great. If he doesn't go, she'll be seduced by other pretty boys. Especially the one called Luo Yunxiao. He claimed to be Miss June's junior uncle. It was obvious that he had ill intentions towards Miss June. The most important thing is that that person's appearance is really not inferior to Jun Shang's. If Miss June is really tempted, cough, cough, cough. Ing Mei heavily tugs at him, and even uses a cough to warn him. Han Yi only then raises his head in hindsight. He looks at God Zhu Yen, his cold and gloomy, yet slightly sneering face. Chapter 1984. Di Mingju, just wait to be beaten by my disciple, too. There was a loud noise in his head, and he thought to himself, it's over. Had he just been beaten silly by the venomous ghost? Why did he say what was on his mind in a moment of stupor? Jun Shang, I'm joking. Ha ha ha, Miss June's feelings for you are stronger than gold, any gigolo would be able to seduce her. Moreover, there is still the little Gongzi will only recognize you as his father. Di Mingju coldly says, Purgatory Pool, 3 months. No. It wasn't easy for him to escape the purgatory pool. How could he go back in again? Han Yi is just about to cry and hug his thigh to plead for leniency, when he sees a figure rushing over from afar, as fast as lightning. The person hasn't arrived yet, but he can already hear the young and immature laughter of a young man. Ha 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 ha, Han Yi, you henchman, still not coming out for this old man, kneel down and sing Conquer. When everyone looked up, they saw Han Chujia's soft and delicate face fell to the ground in a blink of an eye. The expression on his face could only be described as arrogant and despotic with his nose in the air. The moment he landed, he pointed at Di Mingju and yelled, Di Mingju, you rascal. In the past, embezzling this old man's medicinal pills, wasn't that bullying our medicine king Hall for not having anyone? Ha ha ha, just you wait. Very soon, my obedient disciple will come and beat you until you're looking for your teeth on the ground. Chang Lao first accuses Han Chujia's attitude towards Di Mingju. Hearing this, he was taken aback. Little Nine, what do you mean? The smile on Han Chujia's face became more and more arrogant. It can even be described as domineering. It was just that his appearance was too cute. Not only did he not look fierce when he bared his fangs and brandished his claws. On the contrary, they were soft and squishy, giving one the urge to pinch their cheeks. On the side, Han Yi is having a hard time holding back his laughter. However, Han Chujia's next sentence made him unable to smile anymore. My Medicine King legacy space has been activated. What? That's impossible. How could such a perverted Herb King's inheritance space be punished? Elder Chang, Ing Mei, and Han Yi couldn't help but exclaim in unison. Even Di Mingju shows an astonished expression. They are not making a fuss, but the conditions to trigger Han Chujia's Medicine King's inheritance is really harsh. First of all, there had to be a person in the cultivation continent whose root bone age was below 30 years old who was able to refine a pill. This was no ordinary pill. Instead, it had to be a pill that contained at least 4 different auras, immortal energy, and demonic energy. Not to mention the cultivation continent. Even in the cultivation continent, very few people could refine pills that contained 4 types of auras at the same time. If too many impure auras were mixed into the cauldron would explode with the slightest carelessness, and the spirit herbs and immortal herbs would disappear without a trace. Not to mention, it also contained immortal energy and demonic energy. Demonic energy was one thing, but how could there be immortal energy in the cultivation continent? However, merely refining the pill was not enough. He also had to bring this elixir to the Tianguang ruins. And the elixir was placed in the array formation set by Han Chujius. As for the location of the Tianguang ruins, Han Chuzhou didn't tell anyone. Several hundred years ago, Han Yi and the others were idle and bored, so they once tried to look for it in Tianguang ruins. As a result, they almost turned the entire Tianguang ruins upside down, but they still couldn't find the array containing immortal energy. This was an impossible trigger condition. Don't say that, Han Yi and the others scoffed. Even Han Chuzhou had long been desperate. However, today, Han Chuzhou unexpectedly told them that the inheritance space had been triggered. Chapter 1985. Di Mingju, just wait to be beaten by my disciple. 3. Chang Lao grabbed Han Chujia's arm and said with a trembling voice, Little Zhou, are you serious? The Medicine King Hall's inheritance space was really triggered. There's finally hope to get rid of the curse on you. Chang Lao was so excited that he almost cried. But the curse that he said didn't affect Han Chujia's mood at all. He beamed with joy and said, Nonsense, of course it's true. Even the heaven void cauldron shook. How could it be fake? Ha ha ha, Di Mingju, just wait for this old man's disciple to beat you up. Oh right, and that lackey of yours, he'll be called Yi Han in the future. The corner of Han Ye's mouth twitches, still in disbelief. That's impossible. To be able to satisfy such perverse conditions, just how heaven-defying must this person's luck be? Han Chuzhou proudly said, This old man's apprentice is naturally amazing, smart, and heaven-defying. There's no use in being jealous. Han Yi humphed, You're talking as if you already have an apprentice. Who told you that the person who triggers the inheritance condition must be the person who becomes your apprentice? Maybe they don't care at all. Furthermore, don't forget how perverted the 3 tests of your inheritance space are. It's not at all easier than opening the inheritance space, alright? Are you sure you'll have a disciple soon? Han Chujia's face stiffens, then his cheeks puffed up in anger. Bastard lackey, don't pour cold water on me. Either way, this old man will have a disciple very soon. The Medicine King Hall will have a successor very soon. Just wait for my precious disciple to teach you a lesson. As he spoke, he turned around and flew away in a huff. Elder Chang looked at his back as he left. At first, he was in a daze. Then, his eyes turned slightly red. 800 years. It's been a whole 800 years. Little Nine has finally received his redemption. Han Yi clicks his tongue, gloomily saying, I still can't figure out such abnormal conditions. Who triggered it? Humph, but it's still too early for him to find a disciple through the inheritance space. Who would be able to complete such a perverted test in such a short amount of time? Absolutely impossible. Tianguang ruins. Nyangqin, his small body suddenly pounces into Mayan's embrace, hugging and rubbing against her. That small face, which has always been ice-cold, only shows childishness and attachment in front of Mayan. In the Tianguang ruins, his mother's appearance had changed. However, little Treasure was able to recognize it at a glance. Because the smell of Yap Liangqin was exactly the same as his mother. Mu Yan hugs and kisses Xiao Bao. Looking at the name displayed above his head that only those close to him could see, she couldn't help but laugh out loud. Above Xiao Bao's head were the words, "Cute little Shota." When Xiao Bao saw Mu Yan laughing, his face turned serious and he said angrily, "It was Bai Xia who said mother would like it, Bai Xia, you bastard." He actually lied to him. His mother didn't like him at all. He wanted to change his name and bury the broken sword when he got back. Don't. Ling Yuma, Luo Yu, and the others held back their laughter and said, "I feel that the name Cute Little Shota is too suitable for you, Xiao Bao." Under Bai Xia's explanation, they already knew what he meant. In this world, is there a Shota more cute and beautiful than their little martial nephew? Absolutely not. Therefore, this name is well-deserved. Hearing the praise, Xiao Bao still puffed up his cheeks and looked at Mayan with grievance. Chapter 1986. Who exactly was the one who triggered the inheritance, asking for votes? Cough cough. No, mother likes it very much. The more Mu Yan looked at her son, the more adorable he was. She couldn't help but kiss him again. In mother's heart, Xiao Bao is a cute Shota. This name is rather good. Xiao Bao still felt that something was wrong. But after being kissed by his beloved mother, he blushed and snuggled into Mu Yan's embrace. A cute Shota is a cute Shota, as long as mother likes it. As the Xiaoyao sect members were joking around, there were more and more people at the plaza. The surrounding discussions had also entered their ears. Did you guys hear? It is all thanks to God Fuchin that the Herb King's inheritance can be activated. Is that true? I heard that the people of the cultivation continent have been searching for the Herb King's inheritance for hundreds of years. Right now, it is actually found by a young Golden Core Realm cultivator like Fuchin. It is absolutely true. This rumor was spread by the supervisor of the appraisal hall. He personally saw that the Herb King's inheritance was activated because of God Fuchin's elixir. Yes, I remember that the initial tremor of the Heaven Light ruins and the soaring radiance came from the appraisal hall. God Fuchin is truly a god. The Herb King's inheritance that no one has found for 800 years was actually triggered by him. If I remember correctly, God Fuchin is also an incredible concoction master, right? Perhaps, he might be the one to become the Herb King's inheritor. Mu Yan listened to the discussions and frowned. She didn't expect Fuchin to trigger the Herb King's inheritance. Who knew that Xiao Bao's angry voice could be heard? It isn't triggered by that scoundrel, it is mother's elixir. Mu Yan looked over with doubt. Ling Yuma then recounted what had just happened in the appraiser hall. She then sneered and said, "That Fuchin is truly shameless." The appraisal hall's supervisor praised him for triggering the Herb King's inheritance and he actually admitted it. He then turned around and tried to forcefully buy Xiao Bao's elixir. The remaining members of the Xiaoyao sect turned to look at Mu Yan in unison. Yun Ruhan let out a long sigh. I knew it was related to little junior sister, right? It seems like my intuition was right. He, it's not the first time sixth senior sister has done this. We're used to it. Little junior sister, I won't believe a single word you say next time. Mu Yan, what did I do? Wasn't it just appraising a pill? Who did I offend? Ahem, that's right. What was the composition of the pill? Did you find out? This Junior sister, you should see for yourself. Ling Yuma said with a strange expression. Xiao Bao immediately hands the medicine box to Mu Yan. Mu Yan opened it and was a little dumbfounded. This was because the originally black pill inside had now turned into a pearl. It was only the size of a child's fingernail, sparkling and translucent like a colored glass or a gemstone. This didn't look like a medicinal pill no matter how one looked at it. What's going on? Ling Yuma said, when the Medicine King's inheritance space was triggered and everyone's attention was attracted, this pill changed. With my sharp eyes and quick hands, I covered the medicine box before Fuchin noticed. This is also the reason why I'm certain that the inheritance space was triggered by your pill, junior sister. Fuchin's pill didn't have any changes. Right now, all the cultivators in the Heaven Light ruins are thanking Fuchin, saying that it was fortunate that he triggered the Medicine King's inheritance, allowing everyone to have the opportunity to become the Medicine King's disciple. If it is up to me, I should expose him in public. Slap him until his face is swollen. 6 chapters, I've added more chapters. Is there a monthly ticket reward? Monthly tickets, monthly tickets, monthly tickets. Lord Medicine King, student Little Joe's wish is beautiful, but I'm afraid that the reality is too cruel. Chapter 1987. Mu Yan puts the pearl in her hand into the space. She doesn't know what this thing is, but it can't be eaten casually. She smiles and says, "What's there to expose? Isn't it good to have him in front of us? What is the purpose of our Xiaoyao school? Keep a low profile and make a fortune." Before she can finish, she sees her fellow apprentices looking at her with disdain. TCH, telling us to keep a low profile again. Little apprentice sister, your low profile is definitely different from others. Hee, why do I feel like 6th apprentice sister is going to do something big when she says to keep a low profile? Mu Yan facepalms, that's enough. Can't you still be apprentice sister? Tianlang Palace Chu Tianyu looks at the man who suddenly descends and quickly kneels down. Greetings, father. Unlike before, the man's condescending attitude towards him is different. This time, Chu Xinyan immediately steps forward to help him up. That scholarly face is full of a kind smile. I heard that the Medicine King's inheritance was triggered by you. Chu Tianyu remembers the strange fragrance he smelled in the appraiser hole. Moreover, the time when the glaze cauldron lit up seems to be the same time, but there is a time difference. There is only a very slight time difference. At that time, Chu Tianyu clearly saw that the glaze cauldron that the little boy used to appraise pills was the first to light up. Chu Tianyu's lips move, wanting to say something. Meeting Chu Xinyan's deep eyes, he finally grits his teeth and nods. Yes, father. Good. That's great. Chu Xinyan was so excited that he swallowed. Chu Xinyan is so excited that his whole body is trembling. The Medicine King's inheritance that no one could trigger in 800 years was actually triggered by you. You are really the son that makes father the proudest. Chu Tianyu is terrified. This child doesn't dare. Chu Xinyan's gaze becomes more gentle and kind. You don't have to worry about the mysterious heaven bead for now. If you really can't get it, then forget it. One day, father will find out Yi Liangchen's identity, and the mysterious heaven bead will be mine. Right now, the most important thing is to get the Medicine King's inheritance as soon as possible. You can do this, right? Beads of sweat appeared on Chu Tianyu's forehead. Father, although the Medicine King's inheritance has been triggered, it hasn't been found yet, and the test set by the Medicine King must be very difficult to pass. I'm afraid that in a short period of time, before he could finish, he was interrupted by Chu Xinyan. Father doesn't want to listen to your nonsense. Either I get the mysterious heaven orb within a month, or I get the Herb King's inheritance within a month. Choose one of the two. There's no way you can't do it, right? More and more beads of sweat appeared on Chu Tianyo's forehead. His lips trembled for a long time, but he couldn't say anything. If you can't even do one. Chu Xinyan grabbed his chin and revealed a sinister smile. Then you can go and accompany those useless brothers and sisters of yours. Chu Tianyu knelt on the ground, clenching his teeth. Don't worry, father, your child will definitely obtain the Medicine King's inheritance. Good, this is my good son. A satisfied smile appeared on Chu Xinyan's face. Royal father will be waiting for your good news. As the saying goes, there is strength in numbers. In the entire Shuzhen continent, at least half of the cultivators entered the Tianguang ruins to search for the Medicine King's inheritance. In less than a day, the entrance to the first stage of the Medicine King's inheritance space was found. The Medicine King's inheritance test has a total of 3 stages. Pull up load next chapters. Chapter 1988. Only after passing the first round, the entrance to the second round would open. And the entrance to the first round was coincidentally the stone lion in front of the appraiser hole. As long as one touched the stone lion, they would enter the first round inheritance space. Mayan was originally interested in refining elixirs, so she immediately entered the inheritance space. Mayan was already interested in refining elixirs, so she immediately entered the inheritance space. Almost at the same time Mayan appeared in the inheritance space. Many people's eyes were focused on her. Ah, look, it's God Yi. In fact, ever since Mayan became famous, she learned from the young martial uncle and hid her name and appearance. But now, in the inheritance space, the name above her head was forced to appear. Isn't God Yi proficient in talismans? Why is she also participating in the Medicine King's inheritance test? Who doesn't want to be Medicine King's disciple? Furthermore, didn't God Yi refine the water element elixir? Please, how can that be the same? God Yi isn't refining elixirs, he is directly drawing a talisman that can refine elixirs. I admit that God Yi's talisman drawing ability is indeed heaven-defying, but I'm afraid she doesn't know how to refine elixirs. As everyone was discussing, someone suddenly shouted, "It's God Fuchin is here." If I may say, God Fuchin is the most likely to become Medicine King's personal disciple. After all, he is the only one to trigger the Medicine King's inheritance in the past 800 years. The surrounding people were discussing, but Mayan was already used to such discussions. Yi Liangqin. Suddenly, Fuchin's voice echoed in her ears, "To easily destroy a sect in the purple cloud world, you are truly ruthless." Mayan replied calmly, "Thank you for the compliment." Chu Tianyo's face sank, then he said coldly, "The Medicine King's inheritance is mine. You aren't proficient in refining elixirs. If you still have some self-awareness, you should withdraw as soon as possible." Mayan sneered, "Who do you think you are? You want me to withdraw? The Medicine King's inheritance depends on one's ability, whoever obtains it gets it. To be called God Fuchin, don't you even have this bit of self-confidence?" Suddenly, she seemed to have thought of something and said with a smile that wasn't a smile, "Oh, I was wrong. God Fuchin is very confident and his skin is thicker than the city wall. Otherwise, why would he say that he triggered the Medicine King's inheritance and publicize it?" What do you mean?" Chu Tianyo's expression changed, and he looked to the side. Seeing that no one dared to eavesdrop on their conversation, he heaved a sigh of relief. "Yi Liangqin, what do you know?" The smile on Mu Yan's face becomes more and more mocking. However, before she could say anything, Lil Tian's voice rang out. "You have reached the limit of 100 people. You will now be transported to the venue of the first stage of the exam. The first stage is called Myriad Things. The condition to clear the Myriad Things is very simple. As long as you can survive for 24 hours and walk out of the myriad things, space alive, you will pass. Mu Yan is a little confused. The requirement of the all things stage was to survive for 24 hours. Logically speaking, shouldn't this be the easiest? Just as he was thinking, the scene in front of him changed. The originally chaotic space gradually turned into mountains and rivers, with hundreds of flowers blooming and birds chirping. The tip of his nose was filled with a strong fragrance. Taking a deep breath, Zhang Xian felt refreshed and refreshed. What a beautiful place. Is this the everything level? Pull up load next chapters. Chapter 1989. Is this the all things test? But there are no vicious beasts or demons here. Isn't it easy to survive for 24 hours? Mu Yan also finds it a little strange. This is a valley. For 100 people, the area is large, but they can see the end at a glance. No matter how you look at it, there is no danger here. However, will they really pass the Medicine King's inheritance test so easily? Devour Mu Yan is puzzled, but she is not in a hurry. She finds a rock in the corner of the valley and sits down. Time goes by. After discovering that there is really no danger in this valley, the originally tense cultivators begin to play in 2s and 3s. Among them, several people from Liang Chen's army secretly look at Mu Yan. Their eyes are full of worship, but they dare not approach. The unforeseen event happened 2 hours later. A group of cultivators catches a few fish from the stream and roasts them to eat. These fish are snowy silverfish, which are quite common in the cultivation world. They don't contain much spiritual power, but their meat is delicious, and many spiritual chefs like to cook them. After these people eat a few snowy silverfish, one of them suddenly screams, clutches his stomach and falls down. Then the second one, the third one. Poison, this snowy silverfish is poisonous. There are a total of 7 people poisoned. 5 of them quickly take out antidote pills and survive. But there are also 2 people who are too deeply poisoned to take medicine, and their figures slowly disappear. This change makes the cultivators inside panic for a while, but they soon calm down. After all, it's just the snowy silverfish that is poisonous, they just don't eat it. Mu Yan looks at them comforting themselves, but slightly narrows her eyes. Is it really that simple? Of course not. An hour after the snowy silverfish poisoning incident, another group of people falls down. It's a group of young girls. They don't eat anything in the valley, but they pick beautiful flowers. Some make garlands and wear them on their heads, some put them on their temples, and some twist them in their hands. At the beginning, nothing happens. But suddenly, the girl holding the flowers screams, "My hand, it hurts." She stretches out her hand, and it turns out to be badly mutilated. Almost at the same time as she screams, the girls wearing garlands, the flowers on their temples, their whole faces, and even their whole heads begin to rot. These people don't even have time to take an elixir, they scream and fall down, and their figures slowly dissipate. The flower is poisonous. The elimination of these flower-picking girls was like the prelude to the massacre of everything. Ah! Something bit me. Quick, give me an antidote pill. God, this water is also poisonous. Don't touch anything in the valley. Crap. Antidote pill. My antidote pill is gone. In the valley, it was a mess. Every blade of grass, every tree, every drop of water, every stone, everything was poisonous, everything was fatal. This was the first stage of the Herb King's inheritance. Mayan has already stood up from the rock she was sitting on, holding a poison-repelling pill in her hand. He looked at the scene in front of him. The cultivators fled in panic, screamed, and took the poison avoidance pill. However, as time passed, There were more and more poisonous things in the valley, and the toxicity was getting stronger and stronger. The poison prevention pill was indeed useful, but sometimes, people didn't even have time to take the pill before they were poisoned to death. Moreover, Mu Yan looks on coldly and finds that the consumption of the poison prevention pill is really too great. Only 8 hours had passed. Pull up load next chapters. Chapter 1990. Even if the Jade Key's space is huge and filled with poison avoidance pills, it can't sustain such consumption. Eventually, the poison avoidance pills will be stolen. Sure enough, after some of the cultivators ran out of poison avoidance pills, they decided to take advantage of the poison avoidance pills that others had in order to persevere. Mu Yan watched from the side. She had no intention of interfering. After all, this was just a test. There was no real danger to their lives. They were driven mad by the poison and wanted to steal her poison avoidance pills. When they reached her, they saw the words, Yap Liangchen, above her head. They were so scared that they fell to their knees. What a joke! She was the Lord of 6 stars, the one and only Dragon Ascension's 6 leaderboards. It was not an exaggeration to say that Yap Liangchen was the best among the young cultivators. He must be crazy to dare to steal God Yap's poison avoidance pills. As a result, when he knelt down, the grass on the ground was poisonous. The wound on his hand was stained with the grass juice. He died instantly. 4 hours later, there were still more than 80 people in the valley. 10 hours later, there were only Mu Yan and Chu Tianyu left in the valley. Unfortunately, the two of them didn't last long. 10 hours later, Chu Tianyu ran out of poison avoidance pills and was eliminated. 12 hours later, Mu Yan frowned as she looked at the remaining 3 poison avoidance pills in the Jade Key. At this moment, there was nothing in the valley that wasn't poisonous. Rocks, plants, insects, fishes, birds, and beasts. Even the soil under her feet began to turn into a poisonous swamp inch by inch, swallowing up the place where she lived. In the end, Mu Yan didn't take the 3 poison avoidance pills. Instead, she left the everything space. After leaving the everything space, Mu Yan didn't appear in front of the appraiser hole. Instead, she went to the reincarnation square. At this time, the reincarnation square was in an uproar. Everyone was talking about the everything test. How long did you stay in the everything space? I only stayed for 4 hours before I was poisoned to death by a pile of bird poop. I didn't fare much better than you. I was eliminated in less than 5 hours. I heard that less than half of the people could last more than 6 hours. 8 hours later, the entire valley was covered in poison. Heavens, how can a place like this last 24 hours? Do you know who stayed in there the longest? While everyone was discussing, little Tian's voice rang out in the reincarnation square. On the first day of the Sage Ancestor Medicine King's inheritance space, no one passed. I hope everyone will continue to work hard. The following are the top 100 practitioners who lasted the longest in all things. As soon as he finished speaking, a huge light screen appeared in front of everyone. It was densely packed with everyone's names. Number 1, Yap Liangchen. Second place, Fuchin. The reincarnation square instantly exploded. Yi Liangchen. It is Yi Liangchen again. My God, he slaughtered 3 of the Azure Cloud rankings in the Azure Blue domain and 6 of the Soaring Dragon rankings in the Purple Cloud domain. Is it not enough for him to come to the Tianguang ruins to slaughter the rankings? Cough cough, it's useless even if you're first. You still didn't pass the test. In my opinion, Great God Fuchin who triggered the Medicine King's inheritance is still the best. Bah! First place is useless. If you are capable, why don't you take first place? If you are capable, let Fuchin take first place too. Our great god Yi is a specialist in slaughtering the rankings. He is the world's #1. If you are not convinced, then come and fight. Chapter 1991. Yes, if you don't accept it, we, Liangshan's army, have never been afraid of anyone. God Yi is invincible. Long live God Yi. Listening to the noise of the crowd, Mu Yan shook her head with a smile and directly left Tianguang ruins. These people were right about one thing. The first place was meaningless. She wanted to be the first person to pass the test. Was there poison in the King of Medicine's inheritance space? Interesting, she didn't believe that she couldn't live for more than 24 hours. In the space, Mu Yan wrote the word, all things, on the paper. Then, he frowned slightly and wrote the word, poison. During the 12 hours of the assessment, she had encountered at least 40 kinds of poisons. The first 30 kinds could be eliminated by ordinary antidote pills. However, the poison that began to appear after 10 hours was not something that could be easily cured by using an antidote pill. Even if antidote pills could solve it, she would need to take at least 3 to 5 pills. And with such a consumption rate, it definitely wouldn't last for more than 24 hours. Moreover, who could guarantee that the poisons that appeared in the next 12 hours would not be more powerful? What if there was no antidote at all? So it seemed that the test of all things was simply a dead end. On the third day, Mu Yan entered the space of all things again. This time, her survival time was increased to 14 hours. But in the end, she used up all the pills and was eliminated. On the test list of all things, Liangshan's name had always been at the top. But no one could finally pass the test. After 14 hours, the poisons that appeared in the space of all things could no longer be resisted by the antidote pill. Mu Yan even had a guess that in the end, even the air in the whole valley might be poisonous. Who could survive for 24 hours in such a perverted and desperate situation? It was obviously an impossible task. It was not that Mu Yan didn't think of refining pills on the spot. But first, no matter how fast the refining speed was, it would take at least half an hour. Second, although there were elixirs in the valley, they were basically poisonous. Even if they were refined into pills, they could only be poisonous pills, which had no effect on detoxification. Mu Yan threw away the pen in her hand and was a little discouraged. Since her rebirth, she had encountered many difficulties. But most of them were settled by her strength and willpower. This was the first time she had encountered such a situation where she was at her wit's end. Mother. Xiao Bao's crisp and tender voice suddenly rang in his ears. It's written in the book that the juice of this vine can cure the poison of this grass. Mayan stares blankly and turns to look at her son. She sees Xiao Bao's fair and tender little hand pointing at the names of the 2 poisonous creatures that Mayan had listed on the paper. The first was the blue heart vine. The second was the bone-penetrating grass. The blue heart vine was a poison that appeared not long after the snow silverfish. It was originally an ordinary vine, but after 2 hours, it had turned into a poisonous, blue heart vine. As for the bone-penetrating grass, it was a poison that appeared at the 12th hour. The juice of the blue heart vine could cure the poison of the bone-piercing grass. Mu Yan stands up abruptly. Xiao Bao, how did you know? It's written in the book. Xiao Bao holds a somewhat shabby ancient book and brings it to Mu Yan. Mu Yan takes it and has a look. On the cover of the ancient book was written, Records of Mutual Restriction of Poisonous Substances. Opening the ancient book, Mu Yan discovered that more than half of the pages were missing. There were also a few that had long been broken, without much information left behind. Chapter 1992. But the small half of the book left behind has already made Mu Yan overjoyed. Because the poisonous herbs and poisons mentioned in this mutual restraint of poisons are what she had seen in the King of Medicine's first test. All things in the world reinforce and restrain each other, complementing each other. This is a truth that many people know. But what about between poisons and poisons? No one knows, and no one dares to try. Fighting poison with poison, it sounds simple, but how many people would really dare to take poison to cure another kind of poison? But as it happens, the King of Medicine has grasped the heart of a cultivator that seeks benefits and avoids harm, and set up this everything checkpoint. All things reinforce and restrain each other. Without top there is no bottom, without low there is no high, without bitterness there is no sweetness. It's not only elixirs that can restrain poison, but also poisons that also contain highly toxic substances. The only way to survive in the everything checkpoint is to push oneself to the edge of death. Xiao Bao, you really are Nyangqin's god of luck. Mu Yan picks up Xiao Bao and kisses him hard. Nyangqin finally knows the way to pass the checkpoint. Xiao Bao's long eyelashes hang down, a little shy, but also a little happy. Nyangqin finally doesn't have to worry anymore. Mu Yan, that's right, Xiao Bao, where did you find this mutual restraint of poisons? Xiao Bao blinks. Brother Qi Huang gave it to me. Despite Qi Huang's strong protests, Xiao Bao still obeys Mu Yan's wishes and calls Qi Huang brother. Mu Yan, hee, a brat that's more naughty than Xiao Bao, and still wants to be a generation higher than Xiao Bao, dream on. Brother Qi Huang said, that woman Mu Yan is so stupid, she can't even pass this small checkpoint. Wouldn't that be throwing the face of the Tian Mo Qin, throwing the face of this great tool spirit? Boy, you wait here. In a moment, when I throw the book down, you take it to her. If she can't pass it, humph, this sage will despise her for a lifetime. Xiao Bao's words are said with a straight face, and it also contains the unhappiness of Qi Huang scolding his mother for being stupid. However, he repeated Qi Huang's words without missing a single word. Mu Yan's mouth twitches. Is Qi Huang's skin itching again? Where is he? Xiao Bao shook his head blankly. I don't know either. Big brother Qi Huang disappeared after leaving the book. Mu Yan's heart stirred, suddenly remembering something. Did Qi Huang help her find the book in the book pagoda? However, it was clear that Qi Huang could only help her find the book in this state. Thinking of this, Mu Yan felt both amused and moved. She gestured to Xiao Bao, the fat rabbit, and little Phoenix not to come in, and walked into the book pagoda. The structure of the book tower was completely suspended in the air, and the structure of the bottom could be seen at a glance. Mu Yan looks around and quickly sees a small bulging bag in the northern corner of the tower. The small bag was covered with a gray cloth and was hidden in the shadow of the bookshelf. If one didn't look carefully, they wouldn't have noticed it. Mu Yan walked to the small bag in 2 or 3 steps and reached out to pull it. However, the cloth covering the bag was tightly sealed, and she couldn't open it no matter how hard she tried. Mu Yan said softly, cough cough, Qi Xiao Huang, are you going to stay like this for 6 hours? A crisp but exasperated voice came from under the gray cloth. Get lost. Within 6 hours, no one is allowed to enter the book pagoda. Otherwise, this sovereign will kill all of you. Mu Yan listened to this childish voice and almost couldn't help but laugh out loud. But thinking that Qi Huang had turned into the form that he most didn't want to in order to help her, Mu Yan's heart becomes extremely soft. Chapter 1993. Although Qi Xiao Huang was stubborn and merciless with his words, the truth was that he was just a tsundere. Mu Yan suddenly reaches out, and together with the gray cloth, she picks up the person. Qi Huang's whole body stiffened, then he shouted, Jun Mayan, you, what are you doing? Don't you know that men and women should not touch each other? You, put me down. Mayan sneers, and conveniently slaps her fair and tender little butt. You're just an artifact spirit, why are you talking to me about how men and women shouldn't touch? Chi Huang tore off the gray cloth, shouting in a flustered and exasperated manner, June Mayan, you still know that this Zune is a noble ancient artifact spirit. You're simply audacious, you actually dare to hit this Zune's, his, little fart. Mu Yen kindly added for him. Seven Brilliance was so angry that he almost fainted. Bastard, wait for this sovereign to recover, I definitely won't let you off. His brows are cold and his eyes are fierce, his killing intent is soaring, and he's overbearing towards Mayan. Unfortunately, these expressions and auras were terrifying when placed on the young Chi Huang's face. But on this fair and tender little baby in front of him, there was only an enchanting cuteness. Mayan finally can't control her devil's claws. She grabs her soft little face and pulls. Aya, it's really nice to pinch. It was softer than Little Treasure's face. Chi Huang was completely driven mad, his lotus-like limbs flailing about. Bastard, bastard, bastard. June Mayan, Ben Zune wants to kill. Before he could finish howling, Mayan's hand that was pinching his little face has already changed to caress the back of his head. His peach blossom eyes, which had always been lazy and evil, contained a bit of gentleness and gratitude. Chi Huang, thank you. All of Chi Huang's rage was instantly like a punctured ball, completely leaking out. He snorted. You don't think that I will let you off just because you said that. Mu Yen continued, moreover, I think this Chi Huang is really cute, I like it very much. Her fair and tender cheeks turned crimson, almost visible to the naked eye. Seven Brilliance opened his mouth and wanted to say something, but he was tongue-tied and could not say a single word. He felt that his heart was beating so fast in his chest that it almost jumped out. If he, an artifact spirit, had the heart. You, like it. Chi Huang's voice was strained and nervous. But before he could say anything, Little Treasure rushed in from outside. As soon as he sees Mayan holding a little baby carved from jade. The Polar Domain's future young master, who had always been calm and mature, who wouldn't change his expression even if Mdutai collapsed in front of him, suddenly felt a strong sense of crisis surge in his heart. Who was this kid? Why was his mother hugging him so intimately? Could it be that his position as the most precious treasure in his mother's heart was about to be snatched away? Thinking of this, Xiao Bao doesn't even think about it. He rushes over and hugs Mu Yan's thigh, Nyangqin. Raising his delicate little face, a pair of watery blue eyes are filled with childish admiration and longing. Mommy, hug. Mu Yan is stunned. Was Xiao Bao acting coquettishly with her? Her baby had always been calm and rational. He didn't have the naivety and willfulness of his peers. This was the first time Little Treasure had acted like a 5- or 6-year-old child. Mu Yan promptly puts down Chi Huang, hugs Xiao Bao in her arms, and kisses his face. What's wrong, baby? Xiao Bao doesn't say anything, but he rubs against her neck, then coldly looks at Chi Huang. I don't care who you are, right? But Nyangqin is mine. Nyangqin can only hug me, can only kiss me, can only treat Xiao Bao as the most important treasure. Chapter 1994. The corners of Chi Huang's mouth twitches. He, a dignified tool spirit, has actually been reduced to fighting for favor with a child. Fight your sister. Who said that he wanted Mayan to hug him, kiss him? He doesn't care about it. Although he thinks so, Chi Huang still wraps himself in the gray blanket and turns around. His little face is still boiling hot at this moment, as if it's about to burn. The moment he turns around, Chi Huang suddenly feels that his thoughts are blurred for a moment. The next moment, his arrogant and stubborn expression turns into a deep and unfathomable sneer. His gaze unobtrusively schemes over Mayan and Xiao Bao behind him, then slowly converges. The curve of his mouth is cold and meaningful. However, in the blink of an eye, this strange expression disappears without a trace. What's left is a bewildered and frightened Qi Shaohuang. He also glances at Mayan, but his eyes are worried and concerned, nervous and determined. His small hands are tightly clenched into fists. In some remote ruins deep in the mountains, Luo Yunxiao and Qi Wen are walking through the ruins, followed by a woman in a purple dress. This woman is fairy-like and has a picturesque appearance. She's a great beauty that can topple the nation. Looking at her bearing and posture, graceful and luxurious, there's an unconcealable icy arrogance between her brows. It's very obvious that she's a very proud and noble person. But facing Luo Yunxiao at this time, she's gentle like water blown by the spring breeze. The adoration and infatuation between her brows are almost overflowing. The man in front of her is like a piece of cutting and learning from each other, like a chisel unpolished. His beauty is unique and unparalleled in this world. Even if it's just a glance from him, she would feel that she has no regrets in this life. It's just that this person looks as gentle as jade, without any edges or corners. In fact, he always keeps a distance that's neither too far nor too close. He can't advance an inch, but he's also reluctant to take a step back. There's silence in the ruins, only Qi Wen's incessant chatter can be heard. Oh, it seems that it's not here. Master, we have to look for another place. Wandering around in the mountains every day is so boring. Let's go back and find Mei Yanyan, okay? I haven't seen Mei Yanyan for a long time. I want to sleep and wake up in Mei Yanyan's warm embrace every day. Luo Yunxiao coldly looked at Qi Wen. Qi Wen laughed dryly. I'm just joking. Master, you can't even sleep with him, how could I get a chance? Splat. The kiss fell to the ground and turned into a lump of meat pie. It struggled to get up and wanted to protest like its master. However, Luo Yunxiao suddenly clutched her heart, and her originally fair cheeks flushed. Even his originally pale thin lips had turned bright red. Master, what's wrong? Young Master Yunxiao, are you all right? Luo Yunxiao dodged the purple-clothed woman's outstretched hand and used one hand to support herself against the stone wall to steady herself. Master, what's wrong? Is it, acting up? Luo Yunxiao shook her head and stared blankly in a certain direction. Clearly, there was nothing but a pitch-black stone wall, and yet, it was as if he could see through it into the distance, a figure that filled him with dread, desire, and longing. What was going on? Just now, he felt as if he was very, very close to Mu Yan, so close that he could hear her voice and smell her breath. And that faintly discernible, I like it very much. Right now, Mu Yan was clearly far away at Longting Academy, so why would he have such an illusion? Moreover, this wasn't the first time. Chapter 1995. In the river of forgetfulness, when he was in the most pain and despair, almost falling into the endless abyss of darkness. It was also in a trance that he heard Mayan zither, and endured it. Master, are you okay? Don't scare Qi Wen. Yunxiao Gongzi, did you get hurt while saving me? The purple-clothed woman and Qi Wen are about to cry. Luo Yunxiao's complexion slowly returns to normal. He says in a low voice, I'm fine. Seeing that his expression is as usual, Qi Wen is relieved, but she can't help but start to talk. Master, you don't know, you look like you were suddenly in love. Heh, did you suddenly think of beauty? Luo Yunxiao doesn't wait for it to finish, waving his hand and activating the array plate. Soon, the transmission array is activated, and 2 people and 1 beast arrive at the edge of the jungle. Luo Yunxiao looks at the woman. It's safe here, we'll go north to the nearest town, we'll say goodbye here. Wait a minute. Seeing that Luo Yunxiao is about to leave, the woman says anxiously, Yunxiao Gongzi, don't you even want to know who I am? Before Luo Yunxiao can speak, Qi is already shouting, do you think you're Mei Yan Yan? Why should my master know who you are? Oh, another one who wants to devote herself to him. TSK, forget it, the number of people who want to devote themselves to my master can line up from Tiannan to Hebei. If you want to devote yourself to him, go to the back and line up. The purple-clothed woman's face stiffens, her face showing humiliation and unwillingness. She looks at Luo Yunxiao with watery eyes, wanting to see a trace of amazement and emotion in his eyes. Unfortunately, Luo Yunxiao did not even look at him. She directly grabbed Qi Wen's neck, who was about to continue her nonsense, and left. His pace looks calm and unhurried, but in the blink of an eye, he's already a kilometer away. The purple-clothed woman doesn't even have time to say her identity. She lowers her head slightly, her hands clenching the hem of her clothes. At this moment, several figures appear in front of her like lightning, kneeling on the ground. Greetings, Saintess. Saintess, it's great that you're okay. We've been looking for you for a long time. The purple-clothed woman grits her teeth, finally suppressing the surging emotions in her heart. She turns around and says, let's go. Mu Yan tells Xiao Bao that the little doll carved from jade is Big Brother Qi Huang. Xiao Bao's cold little face was about to shatter. Then, her big eyes sparkled, and she couldn't hide her curiosity and happiness. However, Xiao Bao has always restrained his emotions since he was a child, so he didn't laugh out loud like Mu Yan. Instead, she held Qi Huang's hand and read with him in the book pagoda. Xiao Bao knew that Big Brother Qi Huang didn't want others to see him like this, so he would accompany him in the book pagoda for 6 hours. Mu Yan looked at the two little guys getting along harmoniously and couldn't help but smile. Xiao Bao might look cold, but he was actually very nice to the fat rabbit, Little Phoenix, Bai Xia, and Qi Huang who accompanied him all the way. He treated them as a family from the bottom of his heart. Otherwise, with Qi Huang's bad temper, how could he tolerate little Bao seeing him like this? Mu Yan left the book tower and once again entered the Tianguang ruins. As soon as he arrived at the reincarnation square, he heard the excited chatter of the crowd. It's been 14 hours, 14 hours. Great God, Fuchin has yet to come out. Chapter 1996. Ha ha ha, I already said that God Fuchin is going to break Yi Liangchen's record this time. He will be the one to obtain the Medicine King's inheritance. Bah, it's only 14 hours. Didn't he still break God Ye's 14 hours record? What arrogance! Listening to everyone's discussion, Mayan raises her brows. This time, Fuchin was still alive after staying inside for 14 hours. It seemed like he had made ample preparations before entering. However, other people's results have nothing to do with her. She can't wait to try and see if the theory of everything reinforcing and restraining each other is true or not. Soon, she arrives at the Medicine King's inheritance space through the teleportation array in front of the appraiser hole. But it is different from the first time when hundreds of people gathered. This time, there were only a dozen or so people in the space. And everyone is meditating with their eyes closed. They don't even look at her. Not to mention, they are shouting God Yi at her like the first time. However, this phenomenon is also very understandable. After all, during the first time, many people still have the mentality of a fluke. They think that if they are lucky enough to survive for 24 hours. What if they pick up a bargain? However, after a few attempts, everyone knew that luck was useless. In the valley where everything is poisonous, without strength and full preparation, they can't survive for more than 12 hours. Moreover, they have to endure all kinds of pain before they die. Therefore, most of them retreated. Those who stay are those who are truly confident in their own strength. And my guess is that most of them are pill masters. Soon, the waiting time is up. Even if there are not 100 people gathered, Mayan and the others are also sent into the myriad things space. It is still the same valley, beautiful and calm. But the hidden turbulence and murderous intent is like a stormy sea, sweeping over at any time. Mayan jumps to the top of the mountain, looking at the green and colorful scene, the corner of her mouth raises into an unruly smile. The world of poison left by the only sacred ancestor Medicine King. Then let's see if she can walk out of this world of poison alive. On the Reincarnation Plaza, there are more and more people gathering. The bustling noise rose and fell one after another. 16 hours. It has been 16 hours and God Fuchin still hasn't come out. Ha ha ha. This time, Yi Liangqin will definitely lose his first place. I've been unhappy with that Yi Liangqin for a long time. He's from the azure blue world, but he came to our purple cloud world to show off. There's actually no one in the entire purple cloud world who can punish him. It is fortunate that she overestimated herself and came to participate in the Medicine King's inheritance trial. Ha ha ha, now that she has been slapped in the face by God Fuchin, she must be teaching herself a lesson, right? There are only a few of you who said that Fuchin stayed in there for 16 hours. Who knows if it is true? Don't tell me your Fuchin supporters are bragging. Great God, yes, time limit of 14 hours was announced by Tianguang Ruins. The two sides quarreled fiercely. At this moment, the virtual projection in front of Reincarnation Square suddenly flashed. Following this, the ranking for the first round of the Herb Emperor Succession, Living Being, changed. First place, Fuchin. The second place was Yap Liangqin. The Reincarnation Square was silent for a moment, and then it exploded like firecrackers. Great God, Fuchin is number one. He finally surpassed Yap Liangqin. Ha ha ha, what did I say? I already said that Great God Fuchin would be the one to obtain the Medicine King's inheritance, but you guys didn't believe me. Chapter 1997. Liangqin Dajuan, why don't you continue to be stubborn? Continue to be arrogant. You've been slapped in the face this time, right? Who does Yi Liangqin think he is? He's just from the azure blue realm. Does he really think that no one in the purple cloud realm can deal with him? Shut up. Who do you think you are to dare slander God Yi? He's the master of the azure sky sect, aren't you? He's the lord of 6 stars. Can you do that? Wasn't it just a Medicine King's inheritance? Our God Yi doesn't care at all. Ha ha ha, if you can't do it, just say that you don't care. I can see that the faces of your Liangqin army are almost swollen. Liangqin's army wanted to retort, but the facts spoke louder than words. On the projection screen in the Reincarnation Square, the bright ranking made them speechless. Ever since Yi Liangqin's name appeared in the world, no one had been able to shake his name. As long as it was a list with her participation. No matter what type, be it the Azure Cloud Realm, Azure Blue Realm, or the Purple Cloud Realm, she was unquestionably number one. But today, her number one position had been snatched away by someone else. Fuchin's supporters and Yi Liangqin's haters were welcoming a carnival. Especially those from the Purple Cloud Realm who thought highly of themselves and looked down on the cultivators from the Azure Blue Realm. Ever since Yap Liangqin appeared, they couldn't even raise their heads in front of the trash from the Azure Blue Realm. His heart was filled with resentment. At this moment, they could finally hold their heads up high. They could finally scold the entire Azure Blue Realm for being trash and Yi Liangqin for being trash. Liangqin's army, on the other hand, felt an indescribable sense of loss, as well as a sense of grievance that could not be vented. Yap Liangqin's results were already heaven-defying. Even if he wasn't good at alchemy, wasn't that normal? However, those who wanted to discredit God Ye wouldn't listen to this at all. They seized on great God Ye's little flaw and expanded it infinitely, almost slandering him. The reincarnation plaza was filled with praises for Fuchin and ridicule for Yi Liangqin. However, these people didn't know that the great god Fuchin that they were praising was currently hiding his appearance and name. He was standing in the middle of them and was frowning while looking at the list of myriad things. Nearly 18 hours. He had survived in the valley filled with poisonous creatures for 18 hours. It was indeed a long time, and it broke Yap Liangqin's record. But all of this was meaningless. This was because Chu Tianyu himself knew that he had made ample preparations before entering the space of all creation. He even obtained a grade 9 poison avoidance pill from Chu Xinyan. As long as he took the grade 9 poison avoidance pill, he would be immune to all poisons for 6 hours. But even such a pill didn't allow him to last more than 18 hours. This was because after 16 hours, even the grade 9 poison avoidance pill could not resist the poisonous creatures in the valley. It was only 18 hours, and he was already at his wit's end. How could he hold on for 24 hours? If he couldn't hold on for 24 hours and didn't obtain the Medicine King's inheritance, his father wouldn't let him off. Chu Tianyu clenched his fists and lowered his head to hide the fear and despair on his face. Now, the only thing worth rejoicing about was that even if he couldn't pass the trial of all creation, no one else could either. If he couldn't obtain the Pill King's inheritance, no one else could either. He still had a chance. Inside Laozi's #1 shop, Easy Bro, North Sunflower, Xiang Wan, Sister Hua, and Old Ma, who were the backbone of Liang Chen's army, were gathered together. All of them had ugly expressions on their faces as they gritted their teeth. Chapter 1998. Do we need to publicize Great God Ye's identity as the Lord of 6 Stars, and how impossible it is to accomplish? Are we just going to let them belittle Great God Ye like this? Yes, I'm going to organize the Liangqin army. They can go around discrediting Great God Ye, and we can also publicize Great God Ye's achievements. I'm even going to publicize it in reality. A few people were ready to make a move, but only Bei Kuei Xiang Wan was thinking about something, and suddenly said in a low voice, "You don't believe in Great God Ye." Everyone's gazes were on this delicate and pretty girl who looked unremarkable. She rarely spoke and only quietly managed the affairs of her father's #1 shop in the world in an orderly manner. She never fought for credit, never showed off, and never showed off when leading the Liangqin army. But when they saw the girl's persistent and determined eyes, they suddenly remembered. This girl was the first person to stand by Great God Ye's side in the entire Tianguang ruins, and never left him. No matter how unimaginable the things Miss promised, which one of them hasn't been done? Sister Hua, Old Ma, and the others swallowed their saliva, thinking of the water element pill refining talisman in their arms. No matter how wishful thinking Miss wants to compete for the rankings, which one of them hasn't won first place? Easy Bro and the others thought of Golden Tianguang, and swallowed their saliva with difficulty. Bei Kuei Xiang Wan's little face showed a shy smile. I once told myself, from now on, I will trust Miss unconditionally. So, I also believe that as long as Miss wants to compete for the Medicine King's inheritance, she will not fail. Moreover, do you think that Great God Ye will disappoint the Liangqin army? Easy Bro, Sister Hua, and Old Ma's breathing quickened. The original anxiety and worry in their eyes turned into certainty and determination in an instant. Yes, Great God Ye will never disappoint the Liangqin army. And they only need to believe, and wait patiently. In the space of all things. Mayin's face was flushed, and large beads of sweat kept falling from her forehead. Her clothes had long been soaked in sweat. She took out an hourglass from the jade key and glanced at it. There was still a quarter of an hour until the 24th hour. But there was almost no place to stand in the entire valley. And the poison in the air was still getting stronger. In the beginning, she only needed to consume stream water. Later on, stream water, fruits, insects, fishes, birds, and beasts, as long as it was something she collected in the first 12 hours, she would consume it all. However, his body felt that it was getting harder and harder to resist the poison in the air. Yes, it was just as she had guessed. In this myriad creation space, it was impossible to survive just by relying on antidote pills and poison avoidance pills. This was because the poison that appeared after 12 hours was not something that could be detoxified by the current antidote pills in the cultivation continent. The only things that could resist the poison after 12 hours were the various poisons that appeared in the first 12 hours. The toxicity of these poisons was light and could be removed by detoxification pills, but it could perfectly restrain the poison that would appear after 12 hours. One by one, they countered each other. Even if it was consumed incorrectly, it could be resolved with antidote pills. This was the only way to pass the trial of all things. Sure enough, Mu Yan used this move to last for 11 hours. However, at the 11th hour, just as Mu Yan had expected, even the air had become highly toxic. Chapter 1999. Can you imagine, a casual breath can make you bleed to death? At this time, the whole valley has completely turned into a poisonous swamp. Mu Yan's foothold is left with several basin-sized tree stumps. The stumps of these trees also contain poison, so they haven't been corroded by the swamp yet. But as the poison in the air becomes more and more intense, the swamp tumbles, even as if it's boiling. Even the stumps that can be used as footholds are swallowed up one by one. No. If this goes on, she definitely won't be able to hold on for 24 hours. Mu Yan's lips have already turned purple. Brown blood oozes out from her eyes, ears, mouth, and nose. What's even more tragic is her feet. Whether it's her shoes or her flesh, they have long been corroded by the swamp that splashes up from time to time. A piercing pain spreads from her feet to her calves and knees. Even if she holds her breath, her exposed skin starts to hurt as if it's being burned. Mu Yan takes another look at the hourglass. No. It's too late. Even if there's only less than a cup of tea's time left, she still can't hold on. Don't tell me she's going to fail at the last moment. Mu Yan closes her eyes, and when she opens them again, there's already an unwavering determination in her eyes. All things are poisonous, all things reinforce and subdue each other. Her line of sight is looking at the swamp that has almost swallowed the whole valley, and she murmurs. If it's said that there's always something that counters everything in this valley, then there's always something else. Then now, the only thing that can subdue the poisonous air is you. Does she believe that she can hold on until the last moment? Or does she want to bet on the only thing that can subdue each other outside of the 12-hour time frame? Mu Yan's mouth hooks up into a wanton smile. All things counteract each other, putting oneself in a desperate situation to be reborn. This is the true purpose of the all things checkpoint. I bet I won't lose. As soon as her voice falls, Mu Yan directly opens up her body that is riddled with holes, and directly falls into the tumbling swamp. Tianguang Ruins. It's a new day, and on the list of all things on the Rebirth Square, the first place is still Fuchin. Liang Chen's army has been sullen for more than 10 hours. As long as they are in Tianguang Ruins, they can hear other people laughing at them and cursing at Yi Liangqin. However, the majority of Liang Chen's army did not choose to escape or leave. Instead, he gritted his teeth and waited in Tianguang Ruins. They believed that their great god Yi would never sit idly by and watch his first place be taken away. Bei Kuei, Xiang Wan, and the others did not even care about their lousy's #1 store anymore. From time to time, they would come before the list of all creations, wanting to see if their god Yi had returned to first place. Maybe God Yi really can't make it this time. After all, alchemy isn't his forte. That's right. If I had to say, Great God Yi is already versatile enough. If he even knows about pharmacology, that would be incredible. I think our Liangchen army should keep a low profile during this period of time and leave the Tianguang ruins first. Easy Bro also placed his hand on Xiang Wan's shoulder. He looked at her with concern in his eyes. Xiao Kuei, why don't we go back first? Before he could finish his words, a woman's voice suddenly came from the side. Are you the two people in charge of Yi Liangchen's shop? Bei Kuei, Xiang Wan, and Easy Guy all turned to look at the source of the voice and saw that it was a middle-aged woman who had spoken. The woman was about 40 years old, and the wrinkles on her face were very deep, making her look mean and sinister. Chapter 2000. When she met their eyes, there was an additional sense of superiority. Go back and tell Yi Liangchen to stop selling the water element elixir to refine talismans from tomorrow onwards. Otherwise, you won't be able to bear the consequences. Easy Bro frowned and asked coldly, who are you? Do you need to care what talismans our world #1 shop sells? Ha! The middle-aged woman sneered, small fries like you aren't qualified to know my name. You just need to know that Lord Fuchen asked me to pass these words to Yi Liangchen. Fuchen. Easy Bro, North Sunflower Xiang Wan, and Liangchen Dajuan frowned. The middle-aged woman was naturally Feng Yu, who was following Chu Tianyu. Seeing their expressions change, Feng Yu's expression became even more arrogant. Lord Fuchen will obtain the Herb King's inheritance sooner or later. By then, don't think that Yi Liangchen will still have his glory today. Do you still remember the scene when you were chased out of the upper 3 districts of the Heavenlight ruins? If you don't want to stay in the lower 3 districts and middle 3 districts, you better be obedient. Easy Bro and the others revealed an infuriated expression. Even if it is Fuchen, he can't go overboard. Go overboard. Ha, Guabin, I think you don't know what it means to go overboard. Feng Yu sneered, your Guo clan is just a 2nd or 3rd-rate clan in the Azure Blue world. Do you think it is easy for me, a nascent soul realm cultivator from the Purple Cloud world, to eradicate your Guo clan? And you? She pointed at North Sunflower Xiang Wan, your brother is in the Azure Blue world's Green Flame City's city guard, right? Easy Bro and North Sunflower Xiang Wan's expression turned ashen. Big Sister Hua was enraged, are you threatening us? So what if I am threatening you? Feng Yu had a mocking expression and turned to look at the 3 words Yi Liangchen. Her eyes were filled with hatred as though they were dipped in poison. Yi Liangchen publicly announced the water element elixir's recipe and sold the water element elixir to refine talismans. To the Flowing Moon sect, it was a devastating blow. Feng Yu might have judged the situation and immediately submitted to the Dingguo Marquis, Chu Xinyan. However, how could the days of living under someone else's roof and being a slave compare to the comfortable days of being an elder in the Flowing Moon sect? Therefore, Feng Yu really hated Yi Liangchen. Furthermore, the few pill formulas that Feng Yu gave to Chu Xinyan might be treasures of the Flow Moon sect, but their value could not be compared to the water element pill. Moreover, it was not easy to concoct the water element pill, and ordinary pill refiners would not be able to concoct it. She thought that if she could cut off the source of the water element pill's talisman, then the number of people who could refine the water element pill would decrease by 90%, and her status in the Marquis's residence would naturally rise. That was why she hid it from Chu Tianyu and came to threaten the people in the #1 store in the world. The more Feng Yu thought about this, the more arrogant she became. I admit that being the Lord of 6 Stars is an incredible honor, but how can it compare to the Medicine King's legacy? Now that Lord Fuchen has snatched Yi Liangchen's #1 position, all of you are mocked by everyone and have nowhere to hide. When Lord Fuchen truly becomes the Medicine King's disciple, think about it. How many people will the Good Day Army become a laughingstock? Ha ha ha. The surrounding people were already pointing at them and discussing. Some were sympathizing, some were ridiculing, and some were rejoicing in their misfortune. The Good Day Army was filled with righteous indignation as they gritted their teeth but couldn't say anything to refute. Feng Yu's expression was cold and stern while her eyes were filled with resentment. I am the person that Lord Fuqin is most proud of. Offending me is the same as offending Lord Fuqin. Think about the consequences of offending the Medicine King's successor. Before Feng Yu could finish her sentence, there was suddenly a dazzling radiance that burst out from the center of the plaza. Immediately after, the entire Heavenlight ruins shook slightly. Everyone's ears echoed with Xiao Tian's mechanical and calm voice. With the intention to save the world, I shall concoct a heaven-defying pill to change fate and seize the soul of the King of Hell. The first stage of the sacred ancestor Medicine King's legacy, myriad creations, has been broken. The second stage, Mind's Eye, is now open. Everyone is welcome to challenge. Chapter 2001. The Reincarnation Plaza fell into a dead silence. After a long time, someone asked with a trembling voice. Who is the one who passed the trial of all creations? Almost as soon as that person's question vanished, the radiance that exploded on the plaza started to converge on the list of all creations. The densely packed names on the projection started to vanish and finally converged into a giant, blinding word. Yi Liang Chen. The one who passed the first trial of the sacred ancestor Herb King, all creations, is Tianguang Ruin Special Class User. Yi Liang Chen. Feng Yu's arrogant and mean look was still on her face. When she saw the name, Yi Liang Chen, on the light screen, her face froze. As for Liang Chen's army, after the initial silence, all of them looked at each other. They could see shock, infatuation, worship, and ecstasy in each other's eyes. Immediately after, God Yi, the one who passed the Herb King's inheritance is God Yi. Whoa, I knew it. God Yi will never disappoint our Liang Chen's army. Bastard. Who the fuck said that God Yi can't make it? Stand out now. The plaza was in an uproar and had also turned into a sea of joy for Liang Chen's army. Those who were previously insulting Yi Liangchen and flattering Fu Qin in high spirits were now all dumbfounded. Some of them lowered their heads awkwardly and silently backed out of Tianguang Ruins. Some of them wanted to make a ruckus. Did Tianguang Ruins make a mistake? But their voices were drowned out by the cheers of Liang Chen's army. Feng Yu opened her mouth and hissed, "This is impossible, this is absolutely impossible." That's right. How is this possible? Yi Liangchen could draw talismans and became a 6-star lord. His combat strength was top-notch. How was it possible for her to understand medicinal knowledge? Even Fuqin, a prodigy pill master, couldn't pass the Herb King's trial. How could she pass it? Cheating. Yi Liangchen must have used some tricks. Before Feng Yu could finish her scream, a huge crowd suddenly pushed her to the ground. Following that, countless pairs of feet stepped on her head mercilessly. Liang Chen's army was jumping and cheering. They walked back and forth and trampled Feng Yu into a pig's head. Feng Yu screamed, "Ah, who stepped on me? My face. Ah, ah, ah." She wanted to leave Tianguang Ruins. However, he discovered that he couldn't concentrate at all and couldn't even retreat from the Tianguang Ruins. Feng Yu couldn't take it anymore. She suddenly released her spiritual power and flipped the person who was stepping on her over. She was a nascent soul cultivator, so her soul power was naturally much stronger than that of a golden core cultivator. However, Feng Yu just stood up. A bolt of lightning struck down, causing her body to convulse and her eyes to roll back. Little Tianji's voice came from above the reincarnation square. User, Alchemist Feng Yu, has violated the rules of the Tianguang ruins and attacked another user. As such, she has been punished with an electric shock to her soul and is banned from entering the Tianguang ruins for 3 months. Feng Yu spat out a mouthful of blood along with a cloud of black gas. She shouted with difficulty, "No, it's not fair. Why were these people not punished for stepping on him? If he resisted, he would be electrocuted." This soul electric shock had damaged more than half of her primordial spirit. From now on, it would be difficult for her cultivation to improve. Unfair. This was too unfair. However, before she could finish her sentence, her figure had already dissipated bit by bit until it completely disappeared. Chapter 2002. In the dreamy cloud swampland, Lilith Tian snorted, slandering the first host, "And you still want fairness? In your dreams." When Chu Tianyu heard the news that the gate of all creation was broken, he sat down on the chair, his face pale. "Crown Prince." The subordinate beside him said worriedly, "Crown Prince, are you all right?" Chu Tianyu didn't speak for a long time. After a while, he murmured, "Is it Yi Liangqin?" The subordinate nodded with difficulty, then frowned and said, "Moreover, before the gate of all creation was broken, Lord Feng Yu went to provoke Yi Liangqin's army. In the end, she suffered a heavy blow to her soul and is still bedridden." The subordinate repeated what happened in Tianguang ruins. Chu Tianyu's expression was indifferent. He said coldly, "Who gave her the courage to use my name to provoke Yi Liangqin's people? She only has herself to blame now that she is in such a state." "Crown Prince is right," the subordinate responded, showing disdain in his eyes. Feng Yu thought that by sending a woman to the Marquis's confidant, she could flaunt her power in front of the Crown Prince. Now, she was suffering the consequences of her own actions. Chu Tianyu didn't have the mood to care about Feng Yu. He clenched his fists tightly, his eyes filled with fear and annoyance. Yi Liangqin. Yi Liangqin again. This girl was like his natural nemesis. From the moment she appeared in the purple cloud domain, she had completely overshadowed all of his glory. The Lord of 6 Stars was hers. She used the evolution moon sex elixirs to suppress her, and she passed the first stage of the King of Medicine's inheritance. It could be said that Chu Tianyu had never won a single time against this young lady. If he only lost, he wouldn't care. But he didn't have the mysterious Sky Pearl, nor the King of Medicine's inheritance. His father would never let him go. What should he do? "Crown Prince, I think you don't need to worry too much." Chu Tianyu looked at the person kneeling on the ground. "What do you mean?" "I heard that someone asked Tianguang ruins if Yi Liangqin passed the first stage, which meant that the King of Medicine's inheritance was already in her hands." However, Tianyuan Guangshu's reply was that the one who obtained the Medicine King token and activated it would be the true successor of the Medicine King. Chu Tianyu abruptly stood up from his seat. "You mean, passing the first trial is useless?" The subordinate chuckled and said meaningfully, "It's not completely useless. Didn't it help us find the entrance to the second level?" The tensed expression on Chu Tianyu's face relaxed slightly, his eyes once again revealing spirit. "Have you found the entrance to the second stage, Eye of the Mind?" The smile on the subordinate's face became even wider. "They've already been found. Also, young master, you absolutely cannot imagine what the second test of the King of Medicine's inheritance, Eye of the Mind, is." Chu Tianyu, "Not alchemy." The subordinate shook his head. "It has nothing to do with alchemy. You definitely cannot imagine what the Mind's Eye is testing. On the second day after the everything gate was broken, the entrance to the Eye of the Mind gate was found. However, it was different from the everything test, which started with a group of 100 people. The time for the Eye of the Mind trial was fixed. As soon as Mayan entered the space of the King of Medicine's inheritance, she saw a huge ring-shaped wall. There were lines drawn on the wall in a disorderly manner. These lines sometimes disappeared, and sometimes appeared. Each time, they would show a different part. Chapter 2003. However, he could roughly tell that this was an unimaginably complex formation. That's right, the second stage of the Herb King's inheritance actually relied on formations. Mu Yen couldn't help but sigh. This legendary sacred ancestor medicine king was truly a strange person who did not play by the rules. Let's not talk about how perverted and strange the conditions to trigger the inheritance were. Otherwise, no one would have been able to find it even after 800 years. If it weren't for Xiaobao's heaven-defying luck, perhaps no one would be able to trigger it even after another 800 years. The first test of all living things was already strange enough. But more or less, fighting poison with poison had something to do with pharmacology. But what the hell was up with the second test's formation? Did array formations have anything to do with alchemy? Alright, there were some connections. At the very least, all the alchemy furnaces were engraved with talisman arrays so that they could assist the alchemist in refining the pills. However, he had never heard of a person who studied alchemy learning formations as well. Unfortunately, there was only one requirement for the mind's eye checkpoint, and that was to use one's divine sense to link up the formation markings within a set amount of time. By activating the formation core, it would light up the formation core. Moreover, the mind's eye stage was different from the everything stage. It could only be opened once. The time was set to be in the morning 3 days later, and they only had 6 hours to clear the game. Within 6 hours, everyone had a chance to light up the formation core. The more formation cores they lit up, the better their results would be. Once his divine sense was depleted, or if he made a wrong judgment about the rules of the array's operation, he would immediately be sent out of the inheritance space and be judged to have failed. When 6 hours had passed, there was still not a single person who had reached the requirements of the Eye of the Heart. Then, the Medicine King's inheritance space would be closed forever. Mu Yan looks at the rules written in the corner of the stone wall and the corner of her mouth twitches. Did the Medicine King really want to find a successor? Although the everything stage was difficult, at least there was the possibility of unlimited attempts. But the barrier of the Eye of the Heart was 6 hours. To decide victory or defeat in one go. If it failed, wouldn't everyone's efforts be in vain? Shushan Continent, Polar Domain, Northern Frontier. When Han Yi hears the news that the all living things pass has been cleared, he simply can't believe his ears. No way. It was broken in just a few days. Who the hell is so perverted? One had to know that the myriad objects stages test was also once one of the stages that the Medicine King Hall used to select successors. Back then, how many alchemy masters in the cultivation continent were stuck at the all things trial? But now, it was broken by a cultivator from the cultivation continent. Elder Chang stroked his beard and said with a gratified smile, Little Nine sent a message this morning saying that the Heaven Void Cauldron shook for the second time. That meant that the Everything Gate was really broken. Perhaps there really is a genius in the cultivation continent. Han Yi coldly snorts, so what if you've broken through the myriad things barrier? Weren't mind's eye and nourishment the hardest? There was only one chance for that. Elder Chang, do you think an ordinary array master can pass the test of the eye of the mind when he or she is at the pseudo-immortal realm? Han Ye's words caused the smile on Elder Chang's face to immediately freeze, his expression turning gloomy and unsightly. Yes. That bet and the curse was meant to put Little Nine to death. why would he give him a way out? The requirement of the mind's eye stage is to light up more than 90% of the array's eyes. Previously, there was only one person who had met this requirement at the pseudo-immortal realm. Chapter 2004. That is the current master of the Medicine King Hall, Han Chuzhou. But for so many years in the Shushan continent, there was only one Han Chuzhou. On the Shushan continent, is it possible for someone to reach such a perverted requirement? No, it's impossible. And once it fails, the space of the Medicine King's inheritance will be closed forever. And little Zhou's hope will also be completely destroyed. Han Yi sees Elder Chang revealing a distressed expression, and his face changes. He says with a hollow laugh, "Elder Chang, I was just speaking nonsense earlier. Think about it, isn't the condition to activate the Medicine King's inheritance even more perverted? Didn't someone reach it? Perhaps there really is hope." Elder Chang didn't speak, turning around and silently leaving. His gaze, however, can't help but look towards the horizon. Really, is there still hope? The third day hasn't arrived yet, and the Medicine King's space is already densely packed with people. But the magical thing is that the space looks so small. There are thousands of people squeezing in, but everyone doesn't feel crowded at all. Furthermore, they can see that enormous wall in front of them very clearly. My God! Luo Yu is speechless, 6th senior apprentice sister. This array has only revealed less than 1%, and I'm already dizzy. Are you sure you can light up 90% of the array's eyes? Ling Yuma also has a sigh. Let this old lady, me, chop down this wall, and I'll definitely do it for you. Light up this densely packed array's eyes that are even more terrifying than a spider's web. Ha, spare her. Mu Yan also has a bit of a headache. She isn't very proficient in the path of arrays in the first place. The only bit of knowledge she has is still from little martial uncle, and learning how to draw talismans. But the talisman patterns involved in talismans are usually very simple, at most there are only 1 or 2 array's eyes. And the array in front of her has more than a few hundred array's eyes. Hey, you're Yi Liangqin. A deep male voice suddenly comes from behind. Mu Yan turns around to look, but the first person she sees isn't the person speaking. Instead, it's Fuchen who is standing not far away. Around him stand several young cultivators. There are women and men. The male cultivator who spoke just walked out from the crowd. He's wearing a gown full of runes, and there's an 8 trigrams plate on his waist. This was clearly a configuration that only formation masters would have. Seeing Mu Yan look at him, the male cultivator raised his eyebrows and revealed a look of disdain. The famous Lord of 6 Stars, the one who broke the paths of all living things in the Medicine King's legacy. So she's just an unassuming little girl. As he spoke, he took a glance at Fuchen and let out a soft laugh. I have always heard that great god Fuchen is a well-known figure among the youth generation and that his innate talent in elixir concoction is unparalleled. From the looks of it now, it seems like the rumors are exaggerated. Chu Tianyu glanced coldly at the person who spoke and didn't reply. The people around him were all under the age of 30, and they were all famous formation masters. Some of them were found by him. There were also some who were sent by Chu Xinyan and did not know his true identity. Chu Tianyu was an all-rounder and had some achievements in the field of array formations. However, he was afraid of Yap Liangqin. Therefore, for the sake of safety, he was fully prepared this time. He would not allow any possibility of failure. The person who spoke was called Wang Bao and he is a grade 6 formation master. He is also one of the strongest formation masters that the Dingguo Marquis residents recruited this time. Because of his strength, Wang Bao is extremely arrogant and doesn't even put the great god Fuchen in his eyes. He didn't even wait for Chu Tianyu to stop him and provoked Mu Yan. Chapter 2005. The corner of Mu Yan's mouth lifted as she spoke in a leisurely manner. Fuchin, where did you find this dog? Since you were the one who found it, why didn't you tie it up properly? Wang Bao's face changes as he glares at Mu Yan. However, before he could speak, he heard Chu Tianyu say indifferently, it's just a disobedient wild dog that likes to bark. I just raised it, and it still doesn't know how to be obedient. I've made a fool of myself in front of God Yi. Wang Bao was enraged. Fuchin, who do you think you are? How dare you speak to me like this? I was personally invited by the Marquis to break the formation. Aren't you just relying on the fact that you've been with Marquis longer? At this point, he sneered, speaking of which, if you hadn't lost to Jun Mayan in the pass of all things, why would we need to act? You can only blame yourself for being too useless. Hee, but don't worry. You can't win against Yi Liangqin. I, Wang Bao, will definitely make her lose. Chu Tianyu suddenly clenched his fists and frowned. He did not care about Wang Bao's provocation at all. However, he had indeed lost to Yap Liangqin. Again and again, he was completely powerless to fight back. Chu Tianyu slowly walked in front of Mu Yan and said in a deep voice, in the next 2 rounds, I will not lose to you. Even if I die, I will not lose. Mu Yan raises her eyebrows, really? I'll wait and see. Wang Bao shouted for a long time, but the two of them completely ignored him. This caused his expression to become even more twisted and hideous. Yap Liangqin. He sneered, I heard that you are even more versatile than Fuchin. You can fight, refine elixirs, and draw talismans. But don't tell me that you even know arrays. I, Wang Bao, will break your undefeatable legend today. Even if I cannot break through the mind's eye, I will make sure you will forever be defeated by me. After Wang Bao said this, he thought that Mu Yan would be angry and refute. Who knew that Mu Yan didn't even look at him and turned to Luo Yu, where's third senior brother? If I remember correctly, he's also an expert in formations, right? I'm not planning to come and take a look. The corner of Luo Yu's mouth twitched. Third senior brother said that he only knows killing formations. Even if the Medicine King was going to test array formations, it would definitely be closely related to alchemy. He has no interest in this kind of formation. Lang Yumo ridiculed, bullshit, listen to his nonsense. In my opinion, there are only 2 reasons why third senior brother doesn't want to do anything. Either he's lazy, or things aren't abnormal enough. The 3 of them chatted among themselves, completely ignoring the existence of others. Chu Tianyu sneered and left. Wang Bao's face alternated between green and white. He was ignored again and again. However, before he could speak, Little Tian's voice rang out in the King of Medicine's inheritance space. The second stage of the Medicine King's inheritance, Eye of the Heart. The time starts now. 6 hours later, if you light up 90% of the formation cores, you'll pass. Those who failed to activate the matrix or exhausted their divine sense would be directly eliminated. If no one passes after 6 hours, the Medicine King's inheritance will be permanently closed. Almost as soon as Little Tian's voice fell, the entire huge stone wall lit up with a dazzling silver light. Following that, numerous formation eyes appeared. And rune lines that were all over the place but were not connected. Luo Yu sucked in a breath of cold air. This is far more than a few hundred formation eyes, there are at least a few thousand formation eyes. Even if it was the mountain guarding formation of those big sects, they would at most have these formation eyes, right? How could such a large formation light up 90% of the formation eyes in 6 hours? In the inheritance space, many formation masters were shocked by the large formation that appeared in front of them. Chapter 2006. Chu Tianyu's face was ashen. He was also a formation master, so he knew better than anyone else that this was an impossible task. Although their hearts were in turmoil, everyone immediately started to observe the situation of the formation. In the first hour, there were people who failed to light the formation and were expelled from the inheritance space. But this was only a tenth of the number. However, at the fourth hour, there were incessant exclamations from the crowd. I lit it wrong. Give me another chance. Oh no, my divine sense is depleted. At the end of the fourth hour, 70% of the people were expelled from the inheritance space. Mu Yan, Chu Tianyu, and Wang Bao stared at the entire formation, not letting go of a single detail, but no one tried to light it up. As for Leng Yuma and Luo Yu, they were simply here to join in the fun and protect Mu Yan. They did not have the ability to break the trial. 4 hours. There were less than 100 people left in the inheritance space. And of these 100 people, more than half of them were sweating profusely, their faces pale. It was obvious that their divine sense was about to be depleted, like an arrow at the end of its flight. The remaining people who had not started to light up the formation's core also showed an anxious expression. There were thousands of formation's cores. If they did not start now, it would be too late. Chu Tianyu looked at the hourglass, gritted his teeth, closed his eyes, and slowly attached his divine sense to one of the formation's cores. Wang Bao was staring at the stone wall with a solemn expression. But all of a sudden, he shouted in joy, I found the core. Ha ha ha, I finally found the core. He looked at Mu Yan and Chu Tianyu with a smug and mocking look, then gritted his teeth with resentment. A formation with thousands of formation's cores was indeed complicated, but he came from a family of formation masters, so it was not like he had never encountered such a formation before. The formation seemed to be ever-changing and dizzying, but as long as the formation's core was found, it could be broken in one strike. If the formation was broken, how could the formation's core not be lit up? Wang Bao closed his eyes, and his divine sense quickly wrapped around one of the formation's cores, spreading out rapidly. There was not much time left. He must break the second stage of the Medicine King's inheritance, defeat Yap Liangqin, and make a name for himself. He must let the entire Tianguang ruins and the continent know his name. On the other side, Luo Yu and Leng Yuma looked at the hourglass, then looked at Mu Yan, who was staring at the stone wall without moving. They were a little anxious. Now, there was less than an hour left. There were only 50 or 60 people left in the inheritance space. Everyone, even Chu Tianyu's group, began to break the formation. However, only Mu Yan seemed to be immersed in the formation and did not have the slightest reaction. Luo Yu could no longer hold it in and wanted to step forward to speak. However, before he could speak, Leng Yuma pulled him back. Don't disturb little junior sister. But there's not much time left. What if sixth senior sister has forgotten about the 6 hours? Looking at Mu Yan's appearance, her eyes had lost focus, as if she had really lost her soul. Leng Yuma also frowned, but she still gritted her teeth, wait a little longer. Time was slowly approaching its end. There were only about 20 people left in the inheritance space. And among these 20 people, Chu Tianyu, who had the best result, had only lit up half of the formation cores. However, he was already hesitating, and fine beads of sweat seeped out of his forehead. Not only was his divine sense insufficient, but it was also because the next formation was intricate and complicated. One wrong step and he would lose everything. He did not dare to gamble. Chapter 2007. On the other hand, Wang Bao was getting more and more excited. His face was flushed and he kept repeating, array core, array core. Just a little more and I will be able to break the array core. Finally, Wang Bao took a deep breath and looked at Mu Yan and Chu Tianyu. He then looked at the other 20-odd people in the spatial zone. Suddenly, he laughed out loud and said, "All of you, turn your heads around and take a good look at how I break the formation." Chu Tianyu maintained his divine sense on the array formation, frowning as he turned to look at Wang Bao. The other array masters couldn't help but turn around too. As long as a small trace of divine sense was placed on the other party, they would be able to see the progress of the array core. Chu Tianyu soon saw it clearly, and his pupils shrank slightly. Wang Bao had only lit up half of the array cores. But the strange thing was that the array cores he lit up were distributed in a circular pattern and were slowly moving towards the center. Right now, it was a complete circle and only the array core in the center was still empty. This was the array core that Wang Bao was talking about. As long as the array core was broken, the entire array would be broken. Wang Bao saw everyone's envious eyes and his expression became even more delighted. He looked down at Chu Tianyu with a condescending attitude and sneered, "I will prove to the Marquis who is the real valuable person. I think it is better for me to be in charge of the Herb King's inheritance. And you, Yi Liangqin." Wang Bao turned around abruptly and looked at Mu Yan. As compared to Fuqin, he wanted to defeat Yi Liangqin more. Yi Liangqin was much more famous than Fuqin. Lord of 6 stars, Pass of all things breaker, chief of flourishing heaven light. As long as Wang Bao could trample on her, he would be able to make a name for himself and achieve meteoric success. Wang Bao originally wanted to see how much Mu Yan had broken through the array. When he realized that she didn't even light up a single array core, he burst into laughter. "Yi Liangqin, how can someone like you be called a god? You might be better than Fuqin in terms of elixir concoction, but in terms of arrays, a trash like you isn't even fit to carry my shoes." Ling Yuma and Luo Yu were both enraged. If it wasn't for the fact that fighting was prohibited in the Heavenlight Ruins, Ling Yuma would have unsheathed her saber. Damn it! A Tom, Dick, or Harry dared to clamor at their junior sister and scold her for being trash. If they were in the real world, they would have already rushed over and chopped him into pieces. Just as Ling Yuma was about to scold him back, a hand suddenly rested on her shoulder, and a clear and melodious female voice came into her ears. "Is that so? Since you're so powerful, why don't you break the formation core now and show us?" Ling Yuma and Luo Yu turned around at the same time and were overjoyed. "Little junior sister, you have finished looking at the formation." Mayan nods, "I'm done." "Are you confident in breaking it?" Mu Yan thinks for a moment. "The probability is 50-50. Luo Yu said anxiously, "Sixth senior sister, why don't you hurry and light up the eye of the array?" "Hee, no hurry." Mu Yan raised the corner of her mouth and looked at Wang Bao with a smile that was not a smile. "Some array master wants me to carry his shoes for him. How can I not see with my own eyes how capable he is?" Wang Bao is infuriated by Mu Yan's contemptuous gaze that doesn't even put him in her eyes. Now that the time limit is almost up, a trash that couldn't even light up a single array core, what qualifications does she have to look down on him? For a moment, new hatred and old hatred, along with the ambition of stepping on Yi Liangqin to make a name for himself, surged up. Chapter 2008. Wang Bao laughs 3 times. "All right, Yap Liangqin, I will let you watch as the King of Medicine's inheritance is snatched away. At that time, don't kneel in front of me and cry." Saying that, his consciousness connects to the last eye of the formation. Almost at the moment the divine sense wrapped around the stone wall, the entire stone wall lit up and even shook a bit. Almost all the cultivators present are shocked. Such a big movement, could it be that Wang Bao is really going to break the heart's eye? The only one who is calm and even has a mocking smile on her lips is Mayan. Her red lips slightly open, silently spitting out 2 words, courting death. Wang Bao looks at the strange movement of the stone wall and reveals an excited expression. However, in the next moment, a ray of white light suddenly shot out from the array core that he had lit last and directly pierced through his chest. Ah! Wang Bao lets out a mournful scream, and his figure slowly disappears from the inheritance space. Everyone is dumbfounded by this unforeseen event. Even Leng Yuma and Luo Yu can't help but be curious. Junior sister, what is going on? Wang Bao was clearly full of confidence just now. Furthermore, what he said about lighting up the heart of the array first in order to break the array was very reasonable. Why is the result that Wang Bao is more miserable than all the other eliminated cultivators? Mayan chuckles and lightly says, that's because he forgot that this is the King of Medicine's inheritance test, not an array master test. Luo Yu and Leng Yuma are about to continue asking questions. Then they hear someone exclaim, oh, there's only a stick of incense left. This time, the two don't want to ask anything and anxiously urge Mayan to start. Mayan is even more calm and composed. No need to hurry, the final result is the same anyway. Hearing Mayan's words, everyone can't help but shake their heads. It seems that Yap Liangqin really intends to give up this time. This is also normal. There are thousands of array's eyes, even if half of them are lit up, it's still too late. Moreover, it's Mayan who hasn't been lit up yet. Everyone no longer pays attention to her, but turn their heads to seize the last opportunity and continue to light up the array's eyes. However, as more than half of the array's eyes are lit up, more and more cultivators begin to be eliminated. Usually, a single step down would result in failure and one would be expelled from the inheritance space. In the end, only Chu Tianyu, Mu Yan, Leng Yuma, and Luo Yu were left in the entire inheritance space. The cold sweat on Chu Tianyu's forehead dripped down drop by drop. The fire in his heart almost made him go crazy. Lost. He was going to lose. It was impossible to obtain the Medicine King's inheritance. He took every step very carefully. More than half of the array eyes were lit up, but he did not fail. But in the end, it was too late. His divine sense was also depleted. No, I can't accept this. I want to obtain the Medicine King's inheritance, I must obtain the Medicine King's inheritance. With a roar, Chu Tianyu's figure disappeared from the inheritance space. On the rebirth square, those who had failed to clear the trial were all gathered together, chattering non-stop. Damn, is the King of Medicine messing with us? Even a 9th grade formation master can't light up thousands of formation eyes in 6 hours. Hurry up and look, Great God Fuchin has also been eliminated. Doesn't this mean that everyone has been eliminated? Did the Herb King's inheritance fail just like that? No, this isn't right. There is still Great God Yi is still inside. Could it be that the one who passed the second round of the Herb King's inheritance is Great God Yi again? Chapter 2009. Hearing this person's words, a cultivator who had just come out of the inheritance space not long ago sneered. What Great God Yi? I see devouring. Liang Chen is a complete idiot in the field of arrays. That's right. When we left, it wasn't even 30 minutes and she didn't even light up a single array core. Yes, I saw it too. I feel that she has completely given up. In my opinion, Great God Fuchin is still better in the field of arrays. He has lit up the most array cores, but it is a pity that he didn't reach 90%. But Great God Yi is already incredible enough. Even without the Herb King's inheritance or knowing arrays, her reputation isn't tarnished. Isn't the funniest one called Wang Bao? Arrogant and looked down on Great God Yi. He swore that he would obtain the Herb King's inheritance, but in the end, he was taught a lesson by the Heart's Eye array. Wang Bao staggered as he walked to the plaza. At this moment, his soul was in extreme pain, and his heart was filled with resentment and indignation. He felt that every step he took was correct, and his strategy of breaking the formation by destroying the core of the formation was perfect. But, why? Why was he attacked? And he was the only one that was attacked. Wang Bao was unwilling and felt that the Heart's Eye array was unfair. When he heard Liang Chendajuan's mockery, he was instantly infuriated. So what if I was attacked? I am still better than a trash that can't even light up a single array core. Liang Chendajuan could tolerate people saying that Great God Yi wasn't proficient in arrays. But how could he tolerate people slandering Great God Yi? Who are you calling trash? Wang Bao sneered and said loudly, what a joke. Of course I am talking about Yi Liangqin. Everyone that entered the Herb King's inheritance space lit up a few array cores. Only Yi Liangqin couldn't even light up a single array core. If he isn't trash, then what is he? A cute young lady gritted her teeth and mocked. Before the passive myriad was broken, I also heard people slandering Great God Yi. In the end, she became the only one to break the passive myriad. Don't get slapped in the face later if you speak without thinking. Ha, ha 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 ha. Wang Bao laughed out loud. Are you saying that Yap Liangqin might be able to pass the second test of the King of Medicine's inheritance, Mind's Eye? Ha ha ha, this is the funniest joke I've heard today. Are Yi Liangqin's supporters idiots? The cute young girl's face instantly flushed red. You're going too far. The rest of Liang Chen's army also surrounded them with hostility. Wang Bao sneered, did you say that Yap Liangqin could pass the Mind's Eye? Alright, I'll make a bet with you. If Yap Liangqin really passes the second level of the King of Medicine's inheritance, I will eat a pile of shit in front of you. If Yi Liangqin can't do it, then your Liangqin army will kneel down and bark like a dog. You will also have to lick my feet. How about it, do you dare? The cute girl was so angry that her eyes turned red. She glared at Wang Bao. The rest of Liang Chen's army tried to persuade her. After all, everyone knew that it was impossible for anyone to pass the second stage of the Medicine King's inheritance. Wang Bao became even more pleased with himself. Dogs really follow their masters. Yi Liangqin is useless, and his dogs are all cowards. All right. I'll bet with you. The cute girl roared out, her hands clenched into fists. I alone, on behalf of Liang Chen's army, will bet with you. Chapter 2010. Zhu Xiang, don't be rash. Yeah. You've heard what everyone said. This checkpoint isn't something that anyone can pass. Even a 9th grade formation can't do it, let alone someone like God Yi who doesn't know much about formations. The girl called Zhu Xiang gritted her teeth, glaring at Wang Bao with bloodshot eyes, not taking a step back. Wang Bao felt all the anger in his heart dissipate, and he felt an indescribable sense of satisfaction. He looked at the hourglass he carried with him, and said slowly, there's only a moment left before the 6 hours are up. The results will be shared soon. I'll be waiting for you, Liang Chen's army, to kneel on the ground and lick my. Bang! A huge shockwave spread out from the center of the reincarnation plaza. Following that, a blinding white light shot into the sky. All the faces of the people in the square were illuminated by the white light. Someone sucked in a breath of cold air, stammering, fuck. Why does this scene look so familiar? No. No way. It can't be real. Just as everyone was mumbling to themselves. Little Tian's mechanical and calm voice entered everyone's ears, shaking their souls. With the heart to save the world, refine a pill that can change fate, and seize the soul of the King of Hell. The second stage of the Saint Herb King's inheritance, Eye of the Heart, has been cleared 100%. The third stage, which is also the final stage of the Saint Herb King's inheritance, Nourishment, has officially begun. Everyone is welcome to challenge. Gulp. Someone swallowed a mouthful of saliva, wanting to ask who it was that had broken through the mind's eye. However, he swallowed the words that were at the tip of his tongue. Because he felt that there was no need to ask. To be able to make the impossible possible, to be able to create miracles time and time again, to shock everyone time and time again, to the point of numbness, there was only one person. Under God there was no other king. Whoosh! Exploding rays of light rained down on the plaza like fireworks, finally converging on the glowing image of the central, forming 3 blinding words. Yi Liang Chen. Little Tian's voice rang out once more, the person who cleared the second stage, Eye of the Heart, is Tianguang Ruin Special Class User, Yi Liang Chen. Zhu Xiang suddenly covered her mouth as tears flowed uncontrollably from her eyes. She did it, she really did it. I knew it. I knew God you wouldn't let us down. From the azure blue realm to the purple cloud realm, from reality to Tianguang ruins, she has never disappointed us. The reincarnation square exploded once again. In other words, the entire Tianguang ruins had exploded. Most of them were not surprised when Yap Liangchen passed the everything challenge for the first time. Firstly, the all things stage could be tried an unlimited number of times, and in reality, it did not only involve medicinal theory, but also the strength of the Shuzha. Yap Liangchen was so powerful, and he had been at the top for a long time. It was not surprising that he would be the first one to pass the test. But in the mind's eye stage, many array masters had come to the conclusion that it was impossible to pass. How was it possible to light up thousands of formation cores in 6 hours? How was that possible? Guru Yi, our hearts aren't strong enough. Please don't agitate us anymore. In the future, as long as Yap Liangchen participates in any ranking competition, all mortals will have to leave. Damn it, if we don't leave, are we waiting to be slapped in the face? Liang Chen's army, on the other hand, looked at each other in confusion. Their faces were more dazed than ecstatic. You're tuning into the LoveLore Library YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.